you myself again. But it's the only...
Good afternoon and welcome to NUFC Matters Matchday Live. It is Newcastle United against Leicester City in the Premier League today, and Newcastle will be hoping to build, I suppose, on the success of getting a point against the champions and potentially the champions-elect Liverpool in the last game that they played. And Leicester City obviously coming to town with a pretty good record at St James's Park. As always, to take you through it, an NUFC Matters panel of Newcastle fans from around the world, joined so far by Chris, by Spenny Mag, by Daz, by Chris Hall, Rich and Al Walid. And we've got a full panel who will be joining us throughout the game. We'll be adding them as we go along. And you know, it's up to you as well what you want to talk about. Plenty of topics to talk about with Newcastle United. As always something going on in the Newcastle United community. And sometimes we're joined by some fans from the opposition as well. All welcome on NUFC Matters Matchday Live. So big welcome to you all too. And good afternoon to Pete as well, who's just joined us. So yeah, I mean, basically, the lineup is where we always start, and here we go. Newcastle United's starting lineup for this Premier League game. Carl Darlow, hoping to continue his wonderful season in goal, lines up between the sticks. Yedlin, who I picked out as one of my man of the matches against Liverpool, is still there. Fernandez, captaining the team again. Fabian Shaw, again, came up with a lot of praise from the game against Liverpool. Kieran Clark, outstanding as well. Matt Ritchie. The big question was, of course, who was going to play alongside Matty Longstaff in the midfield. And I think most Newcastle fans would agree that we've got what we wanted. Sean Longstaff and Matty Longstaff are now going to play alongside each other. A lot of people have been down on Sean. He's not the player that he was. Look, he's played with Matty quite a long time, throughout the years, throughout the different levels at Newcastle United as well. This could be a little bit of a surprise today. We'll see. Miggy, Joelinton and Callum Wilson complete the 11. On the bench, can't get much stronger than your reserve goalkeeper, can you? Dubravka, then Dummett's back, which pleases me immensely. Andy Carroll will still be hoping to break his duck going into 2021. Shelvey is back. No explanation really as to what was going on with Shelvey, but he is back there now as well on the bench. Gayle, Hendrick, Kraft, Manquillo and Murphy. What a strong bench. Probably, as I say, near enough the team that I would pick. Maybe I would substitute on current form Hayden for Longstaff, but I would say that would be the team that I would probably start with. Gives you the option on the bench, and maybe bringing Gayle on to change things if Joelinton has a bit of a mare. Leicester City, they line up with Kasper Schmeichel.
Oh no.
Imagine me let you down again.
There goes the Wi-Fi. All right. Maybe I should just do my first impressions of the lineup. Happy to see the Longstaff brothers in there together. I'm obviously we had to do something with Hayden being out. I am a big fan of Hayden. It's an interesting lineup. Maybe it's not our strongest attacking lineup, but it's certainly not like just a park the bus kind of lineup. So hopefully we can push the ball forward, get solid midfield play, which we've oftentimes been lacking this season. And hopefully, the Longstaff brothers play well together. And then we've got, some good attacking options, obviously, with Carroll always leading the line. And hopefully his partnership with Joelinton continues to develop. Some skepticism there, but Leicester's a strong side, so we need to put our stronger lineup out there, and I think we've done that more or less.
Yeah, I agree with that, Chris. I would say
next minute.
Yeah, I'll say it, mate. Next, I'm disappointed Murphy's been dropped, because he's done nothing wrong. I think Joelinton should have gone for him. I'm pleased Amaron's back and the two Longstaff middle team. I think the last time they played, was when Matty scored against Man United. That goal when he came on, and they were played tremendous together. So I'm really looking forward to them two playing. I think he will bring Sean on a bit, playing with his brother. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this could be the main two for the club to go forward.
Cool, Spinny. I think I could be up next. Yeah, my thoughts on it. Yeah, happy enough with the selection. Happy that it's Sean Longstaff that comes in instead of Hayden, and it's not Shelby, because Shelby will drop back too far, and we play as a 6 then at the back. Yeah, Yedlin deserves his shot again. He played well the last day. Murphy's pretty unlucky that he drops to the bench. But yeah, we have a solid bench there to work with today as well, if we need to change it up. And yeah, as pretty much as Spinny said, it'll be very interesting to see how Sean and Maddie work now together. This is their chance. We've been talking about it for a while. This it's time for them to show us what they're made of today with both of them together. That's it for me.
Galloway's next.
All right. The thing about Leicester, they are always an organized team. They're not in a hurry and score goals. I think our tactics, Steve Bruce's tactic will not I think hold against Leicester, because they are very organized, and I think one of the tactics that we can't control the games. Brandon, coach of Leicester City, know that very well. They are not in a hurry to score. I expect Jimmy Vardy, and it will make it. He will make it difficult for us. I don't know why. Regarding our side, I don't see anything from Joelinton. I think we are way playing short in numbers, because. And it could be Gayle, could be Murphy. I think better than him. Maybe he doing some hidden tactics. I wish if I can ask Wilson, which player you prefer to play next to you, either Wilton or someone else?
Hey, Steve.
I'm back, but I'm back on my phone. No internet. Bloody virgin. What a nightmare, lad. What a nightmare. At least I managed to get the Leicester City thing off. Never mind, lads. Make do and mend. I will continue to try and get this sorted out at home. Daz, I'll leave the guys in your capable hands.
All right, Steve. I'll lead it off. So again, thanks, Aloyd, for that. Let's go to you next. So, Richie, you got a bit of light there. I see you're not in Liam Kennedy's house after all. But you're on mute.
It's gonna be one of those days, isn't it? Yeah, I've got some light now anyway. But regards to our setup, I think don't change what isn't broken at the back. As they were phenomenal against the champions, so fingers crossed they should be against Leicester today. I would. They have got some good attacking players, but I wouldn't put them in the same caliber as Sane, Firmino, and Salah. I'm pleased Sean Longstaff is going to be partnering his brother. Matty was phenomenal last couple of games, so he should keep his place. Shame about Hayden obviously picking up his 5th booking and having that suspension, but it gives Longstaff a chance to play with his brother from the start. Hopefully that chemistry that they've had from being young boys will be evident on the park today. I think they need to have a lot of energy, because obviously Tielemans and Didi are quite a physical, good little centre midfield partnership for Leicester. Up front, obviously Wilson, we know what we're going to get. He's our best finisher. Still would have liked to have seen Gayle in there, possibly ahead of Joelinton. But I think it's a pretty strong side, and on form, it's probably our strongest team. The only people attacking wise that you would really want to bring into there is probably ASM off Fraser. I know Fraser's back in training, so obviously he hasn't been back in. Probably got enough fitness for today's game, so possibly something where we'll see him back at Arsenal.
Cool, Richie. Cheers to that. Next up, Chris H.
Do you know what? As Steve said earlier, really happy with the lineup. I mean, obviously, as Rich has just said, disappointing that Hayden misses out today, but big opportunity for Sean Longstaff. He's obviously not had the best of times probably over the last year. I'd say he's really struggled, to recapture that form that we all know he's capable of. So big day for Sean and Matty in the middle. I'm interested to see how our right side goes today because we've got Harvey Barnes on the left side for Leicester, and then they've got Castagna, who's playing left back. Now, I'm pretty sure he's not a left back, so I think he's filling in at the moment. So it'll be interesting to, with the pace of Yedlin and Miggy down that right-hand side, and I know Harvey Barnes likes to get forward quite a lot, so hopefully we'll have a little bit of joy down that right-hand side, I'm hoping. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Leicester team, it's just really strong, isn't it? It's a really solid team, and, Brendan Rodgers has probably come in at a nice time. I know he's added a few players in as well himself, but, they had a really strong base, didn't they? And, it's no surprise to see Leicester where they are in the league. I think they're fourth at the minute. No surprise at all. And, it's going to be another tough game today. But I tell you what, after that performance, the other day against Liverpool, what better time? Let's hope we can, carry on with that momentum. That work rate, that passion, that desire. That's what we want to see today. All right, we might get beat again, like we did against City. But let's hope that, we got a really good point against Liverpool, which we weren't expecting. And, today is a big opportunity, really, for us to maybe pick up a point, possibly 3 points. I mean, Leicester are a bit like Man City this season, in the sense that when they turn up, they can be unbelievable. And then other times you see them play and they just don't show up. So hopefully today is one of them days, where we can possibly nick something. I mean, the first goal, as we always know, being Newcastle fans, the first goal is going to be vital. If we do manage to get that first goal, who knows? We'll have something to hang on to there. But yeah, big day for Shaw and Matty in the middle. Big fan of Tielemans, big fan of Ndidi. Two really good players. So it's going to be difficult. And obviously we've got to keep an eye on Vardy and Maddison, as we all know. But yeah, strong lineup, extremely strong bench. Very happy with the bench as well. We've got a few options there to come on. So yeah, looking forward to the game.
Cool. Cheers, Chris. And I'm sure you enjoyed that Liverpool result tonight, where you were sitting.
Yeah, it was great. The pub was full of Liverpool fans. I was thinking for a minute, if we score here, there could be a bit of bother because I was blatantly the only Newcastle fan in the pub, and there was quite a few people in there. But after years, I've built up this thick skin now, so I don't even care. I just celebrate. I don't care. We didn't score, but tell you what, great results. And to be fair, we rode our luck a little bit, didn't we? But there was a lot of endeavour and a lot of effort there, and that was nice to see. And everybody, that's what I loved as well. On Twitter, you probably all noticed after the game, Bruce was getting credit. Fans were saying, "Listen, that's what we want to see every week: bit of effort, bit of passion." And there was a lot of players out there who deserved a lot of credit, and a lot of players could have had man of the match. Sadly, as you know, I wasn't on the Liverpool match, but there was a good number of players there who would deserve that man of the match award. So let's hope today we start off on the same footing.
Exactly. Pete, we'll go to you. I know you probably were listening to Steve there, Steve Bruce, and you're our resident fox in the box. Were you spying in on the training session that Brendan Rodgers was taking this week?
I can't anymore because they've moved to their elite training facilities, which is out in the sticks now. Where they used to train was a little bit more in the city, not far from me, probably about a 10-minute drive. So I passed it quite a lot. But yeah, their new facilities are just out of this world. It's what we would, as a club, would dream to have in terms of what they've got now. But look, with regards to our lineup, I'm pleased. I'm disappointed, like Spenny said, for Murphy. I thought he played really well. I thought he linked really well with Wilson, particularly in that first half. He was an outlet going forward and he was direct. I just hope that Miggy was watching Murphy and the way that he played against Liverpool and plays the same way. So I think he's look, Murphy ran himself into the ground, so I can understand it to a certain extent with only sort of a 2 or 3 day turnaround, that giving him a rest. It's probably with the mindset that he's going to play at Arsenal. The rest of the team is what it is. I'm gutted to lose Hayden. I think Hayden against Ndidi today would have been a really good battle. Both ran the tackle, both box players. So it was disappointed for him to miss out. But if there's anyone that's coming in, I would have said Sean Longstaff. Has he played well recently? Not really. But if he's ever going to up his game, it's going to be a game where he's partnering his younger brother in midfield. If he's ever going to put a performance in, it's going to be today. So I'm quite happy with that partnership. There was talk about Shelby and why he wasn't playing or hasn't been playing. It was apparently a groin injury. Both him and Fraser got a groin injury around the same time, so that's why they were missing. And I'm kind of glad, really, because I'm glad that he's not in the team, because this is not the game for him today. With regards to Leicester, they have slipped up here and there, but if you look at the times that they have slipped up, they've slipped up when they've rotated the squad, and when they've not had their full team front and firing. Now, I know for a fact that is their strongest squad, bar one or two that are coming back from injury going into today. So they're going to be bang up for it. There are no weak links in that team today. Castagna, I know Chris said it might not be his favourite position. He actually is a left back. But he can equally play on the right hand side as well. He's played for both for Leicester. He's played either side for them, so he's equally as good. What they have is pace, just pace across the team in abundance. You've got Vardy from the front. You've got Harvey Barnes, who is deceptively quick. So him and Yedlin will be a decent pairing in terms of going up against each other, because Harvey Barnes, I imagine, will be on the left. And it's where we can win that midfield battle. Yuri Tillemans has not had a great season, if I'm honest. I don't think he's played well, not to the level he's capable of. Can we stop them getting hold of the ball? Because that's where they get a lot of their joy, through the middle. Can we stop them playing? The emphasis is massively going to be on the Longstaff brothers today, on stopping their flow. If they can do that, we're in with a chance. And then the weaknesses, for me, the weakness is Johnny Evans at the back. He's the most experienced of defenders out of them all, but he's the one that's likely to give you something. So potentially in the box, going up against Wilson, that's going to be. If I was Wilson and I was going into that game, I'd be playing everything alongside Johnny Evans, because he'll give you a free kick, he'll give you something that will get you something in the game. Wesley Fofana is an outstanding young centre back. He's quick. He's got a ridiculous leap on him. He's just going to go far in this game. He's such a good player at such a young age. I'd be staying well away from him if I was Callum Wilson today. And then can we commit the two fullbacks going the other way, like we did against Trent and Robertson midweek? Can we commit them going the other way? Can we make them defend more than attack? We did that, particularly Yedlin against Robertson. And Robertson was awful, but that was because Yedlin made him play bad during the week. So can we do that the other way? And that will be the biggest test. But look, make no mistake about it, Leicester are coming here to win today. They've got their strongest team out possible. They rested their players against Crystal Palace because they knew deep down that this is the game that could pose the most upset. And now they drew against Palace, so they need to win today. To keep in the title race, they have to win, because all the other teams around them are winning games. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a really, really difficult game. I have no idea how this is going to go with regards to us. Disappointed to see Perez not playing. Perez, he's one of them. He scored against us last time, but we kind of gifted him that goal. I would have liked him to play. Today, just because it would have meant one of the stronger forwards had not played, because we know how to play against Perez, and I think we'd have done a job on him. But I think that's why Brendan Rodgers has not played him today.
Cool. Cheers, Pete. Yeah, I guess for Leicester, today will really decide whether they're title challengers or just there to make up the numbers in the top four. Yeah. Either way is good for them. We'd love to be in that position. But okay, so maybe we'll go around the table and see, go for predictions for today. We'll go with you first, Chris. Chris A.
All right. I'm going to go with a slightly optimistic 1-1 draw.
1-1 from Chris. Spenny.
I'll go for 2-1 Newcastle. I'm going for the win.
Positive from Spenny. He's back.
You're unbeaten this year, aren't we?
I'm gonna go 0-0. I think. I had the draw right last week or in the last game, but I didn't have the score right. I think so. I'm gonna go 0-0 today. If we can hold them off, then we'll be doing really well. Aloid.
I didn't want to ruin my last guess in the Liverpool game, but I don't know. I can't. If I'm deep into tactics, I can't see Newcastle winning this game. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. I wish Wilson if he explode today because we need him to score. Sorry, guys.
Too much coffee.
What's the score? So, Aloid, you're going for? It's defeat for Newcastle, but what score?
2-1 Leicester, unfortunately.
2-1 Leicester. Richie Rich?
Mute.
It's going to be a long day, isn't it? I think there'll be goals, actually. And I think it'll be a score draw. So either 1-1 or 2-2.
Okay, cool. Cheers, Rich. Chris H?
I'm going to be really positive today. I think we might win 2-0.
2-0. Brave call, Chris H. Pete, the derby for you.
It's not a derby, trust me. You guys are having me on. Chris H in the chat calling me a sidewalk. I'm not a sidewalk. If there is any team I don't want to win other than the unwashed Mackhams, it is Leicester City.
Oh, Foxy.
Trust me. Don't start. Look, I think Life Goals has just put in the chat quite rightly that Leicester's away form is outstanding. If it was at home, I would say we've got a chance today because they have the expectation on them. But I hate to do this, but I can only see a Leicester win. But I will go 2-1. I think we'll get a set piece today. We'll score from a set piece. I can see them catching us on the break a couple of times.
Biased.
No, you know what? I would love to say a Newcastle win. I just think with Leicester, they're just going to be too strong, too much pace, too much counter-attacking ability, and I just think they're going to have too much for us. The only way really to stop Vardy is playing deep. The deeper we play, the more spacing in behind, or the less spacing in behind he has. He likes to run in behind the defenders, and then we've got the three centre backs to do that. But what that does is then invite space for the likes of Maddison to get shots off from the edge of the box, and we know we've seen before that the guy can score from distance, as can Tillemans. I just think they've just got quality all round. So unfortunately, I think they'll just edge it today.
The thing is, though, the only thing that we're top Vardy, I've sent Colleen Rooney around his house last night. Should have sent
it to the stadium today, Freddie. Should have sent it to start giving him stick from the sidelines.
Hi.
Welcome back, Steve W.
Yes, thanks for stepping in, mate. I know it's always in capable hands with you, mate. So thanks for that. Virgin, as always, having an outage at just the wrong time. But never mind, I am back. My prediction, I am going for a draw today. Not usually optimistic, but this is Christmas, and Christmas brings up funny results. It's about time Newcastle put an end to this bad run of results against Leicester. And I've just got a feeling today might be the day. I think confidence will be high. I think people will be wanting to prove a point. And I'm going to go for 1-1. I'm that confident. I've actually got the rattle. Now, I haven't had that sitting next to us over the last couple of games because I haven't been confident at all. So I am confident we're going to score. I am also able to tell you what Steve Bruce said, because whilst Daz was doing a sterling job standing in for us, I listened to Steve Bruce's version was sorting the internet out, and you'll be surprised to know, lads, he didn't actually big the opposition up. Maybe he wasn't asked the question. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe the way they cut the interview, they missed that bit out. But he spent more time talking about players and morale and Christmas fixtures, and falling back on the result that they had against Liverpool. Rightly so. He was pleased about that. He did point out what Pete just said, though, and that is that Shelby's been, obviously carrying that knock, and that he's still not 100%. So, he's on the bench. He's available for selection to come on potentially and play some part in the game. But yeah, he has been carrying a knock. So yeah, it was interesting to hear Steve Bruce not praise the opposition, and that's got to be a step in the right direction. Teams are now coming down the tunnel. Leicester City coming down first, and yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be an interesting game today, lads. And the stats, I think the stats are against us in this game, and that really does surprise me, because Newcastle usually make St James's Park like a bastion of invincibility. It's the one place that you look at and you think, we're going to be, we're going to get something out of this game. But as I keep pointing out, lack of crowd, almost makes you, takes away a slight advantage. And yeah, the last few games at St James's Park haven't been pretty. Looking back against Leicester City, it's always seemed to be a struggle. So yeah, I'm delighted, as I said at the start of the show before I got cut off, to see the two Longstaffs in midfield. Let's hope Sean Longstaff can play, better than he has in that role. A lot of people asking in the chat, Chris, just about Joelinton. Again, it's something we've covered on this show many times. What is Steve Bruce saying? Joelinton, of course, you all know what my opinion's been of Joelinton last season. I got hammered for it on social media when I was always, just saying he's useless and, £40 million, why have we paid this? But as you all know, I've changed my opinion on him. This season, he's not £40 million. He's not a number 9, not a striker that's going to score his goals, but his attitude and his commitment to the cause has been a lot better this season. And for me, I think he's worthy of a place in the starting lineup on current form. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I've always sort of been of the opinion that we're not going to show. I've got a big echo. Is everyone here? He's not going to be able to show that he's worth 40 million. But I was sort of confident that he would show that he was a solid player, worthy of being in the Premier League, if not being an everyday starter. I think sort of Steve Bruce, maybe Mike Ashley, whatever, for buying him, kind of bought into this opinion that any Brazilian player you brought in would have like 4 or 5 characteristics. And Joelinton maybe has shown 1 or 2 of the 5. In reality, I think that they think that he's young and not a done deal, and he's able to be molded into a solid Premier player. And jury's still out on that, obviously. But he has shown games or have games where he's performed adequately, maybe not up to expectations. Who knows whether the expectations are too high? But yeah, and again, we've always talked about how Steve Bruce is not so much of a tactical manager, but it's kind of a put your shoulder around the guy and kind of encourage him with words. And I think by giving him a start or a play in almost every match that he's been healthy for, Steve Bruce is sort of demonstrating that he's sort of meant to play the players that actually has put big money into, and sort of hope that he'd come good. And that maybe Bruce's fortunes are tied with Joelinton's fortunes, so he feels like I've got to play this guy because they put so much investment into him.
Okay, still a bit of negativity in the chat about Joelinton. Some people feeling we're playing with a man down, Spenny, when Joelinton takes the pitch. Is that something that you would say is right? You've been the same as me, quite critical of him. But what's your take on Joelinton these days?
For me, like today's team, I think Murphy should be playing instead of Joelinton. For me, Murphy's done nothing wrong. He looks more of a striker than Joelinton is when he's playing. Tell you the truth. But Joelinton, yes, I tried to do over a kick in the garden. He's over a kick he did in Liverpool in the garden, and I blocked me back, I think.
Yeah, I think there should have been a "Don't try this at home" message come out on Sky and BBC when that was shown.
I'm eventually doing it because I put a bit deep heat on because I think I'm a bit stiff down my legs. So that's what I think he might need.
Barry Hogan's asking where the Irish. Where is the Irish ant? He's coming on in the second half, mate. He could come on now, to be honest, because we seem to only have. I think we've got space for a couple more. So if he wants to come on now, we can do. Chris, Daz, sorry, Joelinton. How do you stand on that? Newcastle have just the game's just kicked off at St James's Park. We'll try and keep you as up to date with the game as possible. Yeah, Daz, your take on the Joelinton story.
Yeah, just pretty much the same as yourself, Steve. Like, he's not a number 9. He's not an out and out striker. He's more of a kind of an attacking striker, like just off the wing. He holds the ball up well. First, he's putting in you can see he's giving an awful lot of effort. I suppose we're kind of when he was playing that number 9, we just wanted him to score, and so we were kind of just frustrated with him. So, but we're not as frustrated with him now, so we can see that he does bring some value. But the price tag is always going to hang over his head. But look, once he's doing a job for us, we'll be happy with him to some degree.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, look, he's doing a job. He's playing his part, and you know the fact that Callum Wilson has come in and been such a dominant force up front is well, it's certainly brought something out of Joelinton. I'm not going to say it's brought the best out in him. Maybe I still believe there's probably more to give, but there's certainly something come out of him. Pete, it's an interesting scenario with Joelinton. He is getting the game virtually every week these days still, but there has been signs of life within Joelinton this season.
Yeah, look, I can understand the frustration within the fans on the chat and just in general with Joelinton, because I'm one of them. Because you look at Joelinton and you think, right, we've paid £40 million for a forward player, a striker initially, but a forward player nonetheless. And the frustration is that it doesn't give you any sort of output in terms of quality going forward. When he plays, you never think he's going to get you a goal. You never really think he's even going to create you a chance. And as a forward player in your team, that's what they're there for. They're there to either create chances or score goals, and he does neither. And I think that's the biggest. That's the threat from Maddison. That's where if we play deep as a defensive lineup, that's the difficulty, because we've got Maddison and you've got Tillemans that can both shoot from distance, and they're fantastic from outside the box. So that's what we've got to be aware of today. But going back to Joelinton, that's the biggest frustration, is that we're playing him in forward positions like left off the front or up top on his own, like we did against Man City. And you just know he doesn't give you anything. You know he's not going to create a chance or score a goal. And that's the frustration, or certainly not on a consistent basis. However, look, on Wednesday, I was adamant that I didn't want him to start, and I wanted Almiron. I was disappointed that Joelinton did start. But the job that he did against Liverpool was sort of underrated, unseen, and he worked his socks off. He gave Richie a defensive platform where he covered him a lot to allow Richie to get further forward, particularly in the first half. And he helped out a lot with that defensive structure. So he did give something to the game, but not what we wanted. Now, is it the right thing to do long term? No, it's not. What we could have done with is genuine pace today, with Murphy and Almiron supporting Wilson, and I said the same against Liverpool. That's ideally where we need to be going long term. And I think that's the biggest frustration, is that you've got a guy up there that you know is not going to score or create on a consistent basis. And you've got the likes of, Murphy off, who played really well against Liverpool. And you've got St Maximin to come back, hopefully. And then you've got Joelinton, he's kind of the lesser of the three options. And I think that's the biggest frustration for everyone.
That was a good challenge on Maddison. Maddison already causing problems for Newcastle. He went through and, created Leicester's first chance. But a meaty challenge, it should be said, on Maddison. Basically put on his backside. He was rolling around with his pink boots on, and he's back up now. But that's what this team misses sometimes, a little bit of bite. Just putting a challenge in, letting the midfielders know they're there. They're not going to have all their own way. And I think that's the key to this game. If the midfield can get stuck in and just, I hate to say it, but leave a few stud marks on a couple of these high-profile players that Leicester's have. it's what has to be done sometimes. It's not pretty, but it's one of those things that needs to be done anyway. Chris, we'll come to you about your views on Joelinton. Dan Milne there on the chat saying he would take the number 9 off Joe. I mean, that's not going to happen now. Callum Wilson doesn't want it. He's the obvious choice for it. He's happy with his number. But Joelinton, who's now currently lying on the ground holding his back after a clash with Tillemans, I'm failing to see exactly what happened there, but he's obviously pulled something and getting a little bit of heat rub on his back from the physio. But yeah, I mean, taking the number 9 off him now is not going to happen, is it?
No. Do you know what? He's set now, isn't he, for the season? But do you know what? To carry on from what the lads have been saying, I've kind of felt sorry for Joe since he came in, because he's kind of been thrust in the limelight as this number 9 who's going to bag us loads of goals. Now, I'd done a little bit of research on Joe when he first came in, as I do with it whenever we sign players, and I appreciate, YouTube isn't that accurate and things like that, but all the highlights that I was seeing, he was dropping deep and coming forward with the ball. He wasn't your typical target man, and I think the way that we set up, it just doesn't lean to Joe's talent, so to speak. So I do feel sorry for him in that respect, because I think he's been £40 million. We broke our transfer record to sign him, and he's not the player that we expect or want. If you think about it, if we'd have signed him for, say, I don't know, 8 million, and he didn't have the number 9, the pressure wouldn't be on him, and maybe we'd start to see little bits of positives from him and think, oh, he's not bad. He's quite handy. So I do feel sorry for him in that respect, but I completely get where the guys are coming from. For me and for them as well. There's options on the bench or elsewhere in the squad where you would think I'd rather him play than Joe. We've seen a marked improvement over the last few games, and as long as the effort's there, that's always a big thing, isn't it? And I think that's what people were critical of him at the start, because he wasn't always showing the effort. Whether that was because he couldn't be bothered or whether it was because he was so down in the dumps, I don't know. But long may this effort continue, and you never know, something may click, and hopefully it does. But long term, going forward, I think I really struggle to see us keeping hold of Joe over a long period. I can't see him seeing his contract out, because he's just, unfortunately, the best position for him, I'd say, is probably around left wing. And we've got Alan St. Maximin. And to be fair, we've got a couple of other players who play left wing, and I would always pick them over Joe. And it's just one of those things. But I don't know whether at Hoffenheim, they kind of played to his skill set a bit more. I don't know.
Just saying he was a right winger at Hoffenheim. I mean, I've got to be honest. I don't follow the foreign game, as others do. It's not something that I have time to do, and not something I pay much attention to. But obviously, I look at stats and I look at where people, what people say in the press when we sign a player.
The left, Steve.
Right. Okay. Well, there. So
he played off the left. It's the same structure as us. In terms of you had the main striker, then you had the sort of a left winger and a right winger as a front three, and he played off the left. And Chris is right. A lot of his best playing and his goals that he scored were from deep on counter attacks. That's where he was most effective.
Okay, there we go. So lots of different opinion on where he played. I've got no idea where he played. If people you were saying he played on the left, some people are saying he played on the right. All I know is that Newcastle United signed him as a striker, gave him the number 9, a shirt of legends at our club. Somebody somewhere, has caused this issue for the young player who's come to our club. If he was a right winger, if he was a left winger, if he's a midfielder, that's what he should have been announced at. Not as a number 9, not given Alan Shearer's shirt. And that's why the kids had so much grief and issues off people. And that coming together with playing in the Premier League, playing for a new team doesn't help. Lots of action going on in the Newcastle United box. As one would imagine, I suppose Leicester have started like a house on fire here, but it was offside that, I think.
Yeah, it was off.
Yeah, a mile offside. Looking back at the
Vardy would give it that, Steve.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, Vardy had a chance, clear shot on goal, decided to pass. Tillemans, I think it was, who came in, and ball behind Newcastle safely through the first 10 minutes without conceding a goal. Rich, Joelinton, it's a conundrum we've talked about many a time. We've done a show on Joelinton as well. We've talked about it, we've talked about it incessantly, but still seems to be that the jury's out on him. Still, people don't feel that he should be given an opportunity. What's your view?
I don't think you can blame him himself. He didn't ask for the 40 million price tag. He didn't ask to have the number 9. Well, we don't know. We don't know on that one. But I think one of the things you've got to look at is Steve Nixon pushed and pushed and pushed this deal to go through. So I think that has to be looked at because it doesn't tick any of the boxes of how Newcastle play football. Last season his return was abysmal. This year, I think the one thing we could say that he has upped his game for the team is his work rate. I think his work rate has, he'll put his shift in like everybody else. I think the major issue is that quality in the attacking third, which we need when we have our chances. We've got to be able to take them and create something. And I think if you look at over the season so far, he scored a fantastic goal against Morecambe in the Carabao Cup. He had his good link-up play for the Palace game with Wilson for Wilson's goal. And also, probably his best bit of quality would have been the through ball that he had for Almiron against West. Was it West Brom in the first minute or something when he put him through? Where he's sure he's got the quality, but he just doesn't do it enough. And I think that's what frustrates a lot of the Newcastle fans. There's players who aren't getting a game, who can create more for our like for Wilson and stuff like that.
Offside.
Oh, thank God.
For that.
I tell you what, that was a wonderful finish by Vardy. It was offside. Yeah. It was offside, but I've got to be honest, it wasn't an obvious offside, not with the coverage that we've got on Sky. But this ball through was just
good through ball.
Breached Newcastle's
mile
offside. Yeah, it did just the angle it had originally, but Vardy took it far right of the area at the Gallagher end, and then just a slide rule pass. It was just like a slide rule pass cross across the goal and straight in the back of the net. But offside, Newcastle 0, Leicester 0. 12.5 minutes gone. Yeah, sorry, Rich. Continue, mate.
No, I was just saying that one of the frustrating things is he's had the odd bit of quality this year, but we've got players who given more quality over last season and this season since he's been here, who struggle to get a game. It's like Spenny mentioned before. I know obviously he's playing on the left compared to the right, but Murphy's created more this year. When we watched the game the other night against Liverpool, Murphy was making runs to try and be that second striker to help Wilson out. Joelinton doesn't do that. When Fraser's on, Fraser looks dangerous every time he gets the ball. It's the same with the ASM. Obviously, we know there's issues there. But I just think, if our first full strength players were there, I don't think you should be getting a game. Unfortunately, I believe that, like I did the other night, I still believe that Gayle should be getting a bit of a look. I think he could cause a lot more problems up front with Wilson with his pace. Obviously, with Almiron on the other side, he's got plenty of pace. And, Johnny Evans is getting on a bit now. This is the sort of person that struggles with pace. Obviously, helps himself out with his experience so he can get into places beforehand. But if you actually run at him, it's going to cause issues. And I think he's possibly the weak point in the back too, because Fofana's a really good player. I know Pete mentioned it before, but he's a really, really good centre half, Fofana. But I believe Evans is the one we need to attack, and possibly the young fullback. So Joelinton against Jackson, I think Jackson's going to win that all day long. But if we can get Wilson more on Evans, I think that's a possibility where we could attack and develop on something there.
Yep, okay. Still 0-0, coming up to 15 minutes played. Al-Walid, Joelinton, have you seen enough from him in the first half of the season to warrant a place in that team?
I guess the choices Steve Bruce have, it's limited. I try to focus many times on Joelinton. I want to see what he's doing and other player can do. I believe maybe he's. He mentioned before that Joelinton, he is not selfish. He passed the balls. I guess he running most of the of the time, even if we didn't have the position of the ball, he tried to get the ball. He always in move, always in action, and he's quiet sometimes with the ball. Can have a little better control. If you notice, Maximin and El Mayroun and Fraser, they are always doing maybe more on the side, and they are very, very fast, in a hurry always. But he's the calm one, and I guess as we see now, he's a team player. I'm speaking of on behalf of Steve Bruce. I think this is what you see in him.
Mr. Steve Bruce, he's almost getting back to Mr. Steve Bruce levels. Remember in the early days, Alwaleed, you always used to call him Mr. But then when the results were going badly, that was it. It was Steve Bruce.
So I guess that's why we notice he's always, as I mentioned, he's quiet. He's more playing behind, in number 10 position.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. All the lads have had their opinion. I hope that keeps the people in the chat happy. It's always going to cause a split amongst the fan base, different players. I suppose we've got Steve Bruce says, appreciate it, lads. There you go, Alwaleed. I knew you had my back from the great man himself. It's always going to cause a split in the ranks. We had it with Hendrick earlier in the season, of course. Lots of people saying, what does he do? We shouldn't be in the team. Now it seems to be Sean Longstaff's turn. Sean Longstaff seems to be getting picked out for particular criticism. People saying that he's not the player that he was. And players do go through bad runs of form. They don't play well. Some players will play well play better with maybe it's a crowd. Other players will play better without a crowd. Some players will be potentially suffering from the effects of COVID. We just don't know. I mean, but that's up to Steve Bruce then to pick his best team. And the one thing about Newcastle is they're not struggling for midfielders, and they're not struggling for central midfielders in particular. We were unlucky today in the sense that Hayden's booking took him out of the game. We would have all, I think, liked to have seen Hayden and Matty Longstaff continue in the position. But yeah, look, Newcastle United still holding on. It's still 0-0. 18 minutes played at St James's Park. Bruce's lucky clover, as we often refer to on this show, still intact. And like we did against the Liverpool game, we could soak up all the pressure and hit them on the counter attack. I mentioned Callum Wilson a little bit earlier. A little stat came up on Sky. I do like to screen grab these every now and then. And most goal involvement in the Premier League. Wow, I knew he was important, but it just shows you how important. Harry Kane, of course, topping that list with 21 goal assists. We've got Callum Wilson in there, number 2. So scoring goals and assisting goals is something that Callum Wilson's doing. There'll be a lot of players was that Joelinton there?
Yes.
Joelinton with a shot on goal, and Newcastle hitting their first shot on target. But
Steve, I've got a stat for you since Andre's not here.
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
Okay, well, so you just showed the goal involvement of Callum Wilson. So he's got 8 goals so far. Clearly our leader. Do you even know who's the number 2 goal scorer in our squad? It's Hendrick with 2 goals.
Yeah.
So clearly there's a big drop off there on that. We need Callum Wilson to score. I was going to ask if we could talk about, since the January transfer window is open, what we'd like to see added to our squad. I think. Yeah.
Let's do that after the Callum Wilson thing. 100% we'll do that. But Callum Wilson, big player. He's scoring goals. You've made the point there as well. Hendrick sitting in second position with 2 goals. So Callum Wilson's vital. You could probably tie in your transfer window piece with it, because I presume what you're going to say is we need to sign another striker.
Yeah, we need as with ASM out, we need a creative player, like a midfielder signing. But I'm not confident we're going to be signing anyone long term. It'll only be, we've got 2 domestic loan people open, so I expect we'll sign 2 on loan.
What's he doing out there?
I would like Josh King to come in. That would be great. I mean, obviously he played well with Wilson and Fraser.
Yeah, Schmeichel almost, just bizarre here. Newcastle with a long ball, hopeful ball from fullback. Kasper Schmeichel was almost on the semicircle to come and clear it. So, further than Pavel even would have come, God bless him. But Josh King, it's a good shout, Chris. We've talked about it on the show, Three Amigos Friday. I put in the Josh King scenario. I mean, I would take him tomorrow. I think he would be a good signing. It would have to be a signing. You couldn't get him on loan. But I believe I think, as I said on Friday, I think he's free in the summer. I don't see that happen. I don't see that happening in this January transfer window. I fear all we will see is potential loan deals as well, because, as I keep saying, until this takeover is dead in the water, then I don't see massive amounts of money being spent by Mike Ashley. He's not going to be keen on spending money. He's got enough plugging holes with these other businesses without spending more money on a squad which, to be fair, should be able to stay up, especially with the likes of Sheffield United, Brighton, West Brom, all losing, leaking goals week in, week out. I dare say it, this is probably a season where you could probably stay up with maybe 30 points. It could be as low as that. Yeah. That's what it's like at the bottom. But yeah, Chris, Callum Wilson, just getting back to him with that stat. He's massively, vital to this team, and that's just a great start. It just shows he's a team player. He's not just a selfish striker. He's a team player.
Yeah, as some of the other lads have said, or in the comments, that he's a grafter. He grafts every game. He's gonna put in a shift, and he's always going to most likely be in the right place, whether or not he gets that crossing pass in on his own. But he's been in the right place, right time to get those 8 goals. Maybe he had to get 20 goals for the season. We haven't had a 20-goal scorer. I don't remember the last time we had. It's this year. But even if he scores 20 goals, we can't have our second goal scorer have 2 or 4 goals. I mean, we need somebody else close to double digits to support him. And at this point, I don't see. I mean, Almiron hasn't scored, so I don't see anyone coming. I don't see anyone getting double digits besides coming close to double digits besides Wilson. That's the problem we've got in the squad.
Yeah. Okay. Spenny, he's a big player, isn't he? He's a big game player, Callum Wilson, for us, and we got him at a snip. When I listened to Sam Allardyce's interview last night, I've got to be honest, I was sitting enjoying listening to Sam Allardyce having to explain another reverse. But yeah, I mean, people like him must be looking, going, why on earth didn't West Brom try and get a hold of Wilson for that money? Because we got him at a snip.
He didn't all he's a cracking player. I don't think we've had anybody like that since Bar. Tell you the truth. No. When you look at it, the last partnership we had was Bar and CC, and look what happened there. We got the 5th in the league. You know what I mean? So all you have to do is get another striker in. Who can bang you the goals like Wilson? Like Josh Kings has been mentioned there. If you're going to be spending money on wages instead of transfers, why don't you go for Diego Costa? He knows where the ball goes in the net, doesn't he? He's passionate.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, I'd love to see again. It's another name, bandied around. I'd love to see it. We're going to get linked with everybody, Daz, as we always do in this transfer window. My point about Callum Wilson was, obviously I'd like you to have a look at that as well. But just how important he is to the team, and that's going to be the difference between staying up and going down this season. Callum Wilson, first of all, signing and just keeping him fit, because he'll always bang a goal in, and it'll be either he'll get us a point or he'll get us 3 points, and that's been the difference for us, and that's something we didn't have last year. I'm still, when I look back at last season now, still amazed that we stayed up without a striker last season.
Yeah, Callum Wilson is vital for us. Look, he's banging in the goals. He's taking the pinholes as well, so that's adding to his goal tally for us. But he's making the right runs as well. And when he's when he's on the pitch, we have a chance at a goal. Without him on the pitch, okay, then you're looking at maybe the likes of Gayle, and Gayle can put the ball on the net as well. But then his injury record isn't great, but. He is vital to us, Steve, and just I suppose for confidence for everyone else as well, that they have someone up there that's making those runs and can finish. And then just maybe what Chris was saying about who we could bring in the transfer window. I think it's just going to be potential loans, people that aren't getting a game at their own club or whatever. But what I'd like to see, and I think I was talking to Liam Kennedy after the Liverpool game, like we have Matty Longstaff in there now, playing brilliant. I don't want to see Shelby coming back in anytime soon, but I'd like to see be greedy and get a box to box midfielder like the guy we looked at from France, Bakary Samore from Lille. Last time I looked at their table, they're top of the league. But the French league, I think that there's clubs that would sell players, because I know we had and we're talking crazy money, and 35 million been accepted before for him. But he didn't fancy it. But if there were the dreaded T word was getting close, if some money could be allocated some way, maybe we could get him in. I think he's young, he's hungry as well. So yeah, someone like that I'd like to see. The midfield strengthened. It's the area that I'd like to see targeted the most, really, because I think we have a bit, some kind of, I'm not going to say we have depth, but we have some kind of backup in the shape of Gayle at the moment, and then maybe Carroll. But yeah, if Wilson gets injured, then we are pretty screwed. But we're okay the way we are at the moment in the strike in front.
Talking of injuries, Maddison is looking as if he's crocked here. Shaw looked fairly innocuous. He just put a fair but hard tackle in, it has to be said. He got across him. Maddison fell awkwardly. He's twisted his knee.
He's still on the ball, Steve.
Did he? Right. He's got his hand on his head. He's got his hands on his head here. This isn't any play acting. He's getting back up on his feet gingerly. We'll see whether he makes a recovery. Brendan Rodgers does have somebody warming up, but certainly looks as if his knee is causing him some issues. We'll see whether there's any substitutions there. But 27 minutes in, it's Newcastle United 0, Leicester 0. Maddison managing to walk. I've seen him in this position before. I'd imagine he will try and run this off. He is starting to jog up the touchline. But yeah, Newcastle are putting it on Maddison, and I'm pleased to see that. And I'm afraid that's just part and parcel of football. You've got a creative player who's about to take the mick. Then you've got to get him rattled. You've got to let him know he's there. Vinnie Jones with Gaza, prime example. Just stick to him, man to mark him, play him out the game. It's well worth doing. And Maddison, as well as Vardy, is the threat. They've got threats all over the pitch, but Maddison is a key player for these. And if you can stop him playing to the best of his ability as he comes back onto the pitch, Newcastle's got half a chance of winning this game. And I mean winning it. If they can keep the same kind of defensive minded tactics going that they did against Liverpool, they've got a chance of nicking this game. Pete, over to you, mate. Callum Wilson, as I say, vital member of the team. We all know that. It's just the stat that came up on Sky. I'll just refresh everyone's memory with it. Just proves he's a team player, isn't he?
I love him.
I think
I do. I just think. Look, I just think he's just a quality player. He really, really is. He's matured and just developed as his career's gone on. He's gone from the lower leagues into the Premier League, and he's just got better and better. And I love his passion for the game. I love his determination to score goals. That's what we've missed. I'm not here. I see a lot of Premier League football nowadays where it's all about just sideward passing and walking the ball into the net. I want to see a striker that just wants to score goals. I just want a striker that just want to put the ball in the net. I want him to be selfish. I want him to say, I want to come in and get 15, 20 goals a season. And that's been his mentality from the beginning, and I love it. That's the kind of player that I want playing and leading the line for our team. Someone that just wants to come in there and just get as many goals as he possibly can. And he's done that. And he's really led from the front this season. And that alone will keep us in the league. Because I'm not just talking about his goals. I'm just talking about his presence on the pitch. His presence and just being there. It was really interesting. James Milner's interview before the Liverpool game, he talked about he talked about obviously it's going to be a difficult game, but the only player that he mentioned about being a genuine threat in our team was Callum Wilson. And if a team like Liverpool are genuinely worried about him, that says a lot. And you know for a fact that Leicester and Brendan Rodgers' tactics would have been about keeping Callum Wilson quiet. What I've seen already in the first 30 minutes is that wherever Callum Wilson moves, Fofana moves with him. and Johnny Evans just stays in the middle. Because, as I mentioned before, Johnny Evans is the weak link. Fofana is the one that has got the pace and the power that can actually match him. And I said it a couple of streams ago. My worry is that are we going to keep hold of him in the summer? Because look, we paid 20 million for him, which is an absolute bargain. We a team bigger and have better ambitions than us can come in with 30 million, and Mike Ashley will probably take that in the summer. Unfortunately, so that's my biggest worry. If the takeover whatever doesn't go through for whatever reason, I genuinely worry more about him leaving in the summer than the likes of ASM and Miguel Almiron.
What do you make of Ginger Hoskins? Ginger Hoskins, look, he's had a few messages here. I've put them up on screen. I'll read this one out. He went, "You better hope we get a lot more penalties because 2 tap-ins from the far post and 6 penalties. He's got a lot more to do." So look, there's always more than one opinion amongst Newcastle's fan base. That's the same as every fan base. And,
of course, but you've got to look at 2 things. One, who's been involved and won those penalties for us. And Callum Wilson's been heavily involved in that because he's a genuine threat. And defenders don't know how to deal with him and then end up bringing him down. Is that his fault? No. Is he going to argue that? No. Is he going to take an opportunity to put the ball in the net? Of course. I don't understand why, and look, I respect everyone's opinions, but I don't understand why people are so critical, and I say people, because I'm not just talking about Newcastle fans. People are so critical about players taking penalties when you've got our greatest ever goal scorer in the Premier League and our club history that took our penalties and took a hell of a lot of penalties and scored a hell of a lot of goals from the penalty spot. But we never complain then. So I don't understand why we're complaining about the fact that he's taking penalties for us now. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't care how he puts the ball in the net, as long as he puts the ball in the net. I don't think anyone argued about the fact that Callum Wilson took that penalty that got us a point against Fulham. I don't think anybody argued the fact about Callum Wilson taking that penalty that put us in the lead against Everton and that made it 3-1 against Burnley, because I certainly didn't. And so I respect that opinion, but at the end of the day, I don't care how the ball goes in the net, and I don't care how he scores the goals, and I don't think he cares how he scores the goals either, as long as he puts the ball in the net. But it goes back to the original point that you made, Steve, and the screenshot that you put up. It's about contributions to goals. He's not just about a goal scorer. He's actually contributed and been heavily involved in a lot of the goals. And actually, probably a lot of the time, a lot of these stats are probably misused as well, because he's probably been the one that started the move, that then gave it to the assister, that then scored the goal. For example, the goal against West Brom. He played the ball to Joelinton, who played the ball to Almiron, who scored the goal. So he's played heavy parts in that, in the contributions of Newcastle United's goals this season. So it's not just about him scoring tap-ins or penalties. It's about what he gives to the team. He gives us a genuine threat. This centre-back pairing of Fofana and Evans has been outstanding this season, but already they're being pulled apart by him. They don't know what to do. And that's just in 33 minutes. That's Callum Wilson. He's doing that. And what he's doing, he's allowing us to be a threat going further forward. He's allowing the likes of Matty Longstaff, who in fact have been outstanding so far in this game, right, to get hold of the ball and actually give options, because the centre-backs are having to occupy all their time in marking him. So he does just a little bit more than just taking a penalty or putting a tap in. It's the movement. How many times did we say about Joelinton not getting in the box, not being there to put the ball in the net when the ball was getting put into the 6-yard box or the 18-yard box? How many times did that happen last season? And we were going mad about it. We've now got a guy that is genuinely wanting to get into the box, and there are certain sections of the fan base that are not happy about it. We can't win.
Yeah, Shawnee says
I'll
you
put
still got to score.
Point there for you, Pete, as well.
You still got to score the penalties.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I said, last season we had one penalty all season. One penalty all season last season. Now we've had 6 or 7. There's the fuck, yeah.
There you go. And two of them, Callum Wilson's won. He won the one against Everton. He won the one against Fulham. You know, that's because
the Everton one, Pete, was absolutely brilliant, because It was his individual clever movement to get the other side of the defender off the corner that won it. It was fantastic centre forward play.
Yeah, I get it.
No, it was. It was a question from Azzy as well, Pete. I'll for you to finish off. Rondon or Wilson? Who would you like if you had to pick one?
For me, look, I loved Rondon when he was here. Ideally, I'd like them playing together, but I would probably go Callum Wilson. I think for me, his ability to press and his pace makes the difference. Rondon is a hold-up man, so you would like him playing alongside again at the likes of a Wilson. He holds up the play, he's big and strong, he moves players around, he's good in the air. But Wilson's just he is equally as strong. Without the body frame, he's equally as strong at holding up the ball. He's been fantastic this season at doing that. But what he gives you is the pressing ability going forward, and he's got genuine pace to hurt teams. And I think pace in this modern day football is so crucial. You look at the way, and I'm going off topic slightly now. You look at the way DeAndre Yedlin's played in the last few games. His pace has made a difference to our defence, and it's made a difference to us going forward. Their left back today has spent more time defending than going forward. Why? Because he's worried about DeAndre Yedlin. Pace makes the difference. So that's why I'm going with Callum Wilson. Sorry to go off track there.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, a lot of people saying the ref's atrocious. Yeah, the ball has hit him 3 times. Maybe he's looking for
in our favour as well.
He's man of the match so far.
Maybe he's looking for a contract. We've got a Leicester City fan. Welcome to Matt from the UK. I'm a Leicester fan, but we will win. That's interesting, mate. At the moment, it's 0-0 though. And don't forget, we've got Steve Bruce's lucky clover. You haven't. So you never know, mate. You never know. That's the beauty of football. Our record against Leicester at St James's Park's horrendous. So I can see why you're confident though. So welcome to the stream. Chris, Callum Wilson we're talking about, just how important he is to the team. And as I say, that stat that Sky put up there, just showing, he's an all-round team player and very influential within the Newcastle United team this season.
Yeah, do you know what, Steve? He's massively important, isn't he, as all the lads have said. I mean, last season was Shelby our top scorer with 6, and already Wilson's on 8. And it's just like, I can't believe we managed to pick him up for 20 million because it's absolute daylight robbery. A quality striker like him, he's 28, and he's a proven Premier League goal scorer. You would think, I mean, he was linked, wasn't he? A couple of seasons ago with like 40-50 million to Chelsea, and you can see why. He's a top draw striker, and we're so lucky to have him. I mean, personally, I'm not worried that we're going to lose him because Ashley's many things, but one thing he's not is stupid. And anybody could see if you take Wilson out this team, we're in trouble, big trouble. And Wilson alone keeps us up this season. And he's been fantastic. And going back to one of the comments, that somebody mentioned, about 6 penalties and 2 open play goals. We don't create that many chances. And there is a stat, and I've seen it. I can't think what it was, but it was something silly like Wilson's conversion rate or his shots on target based on chances that he got. It's ridiculously high. And don't forget the 2 goals that he did score from open play. If you remember, one of them was when he nipped in at the back post. The ball wasn't going in, and it was predatory. And he knew right place, right time. He knew where to be, and he tucked it away. And then the other goal against Palace, calm, collected, one chance. What was it, 89th or 91st minute or something? And he slots it under the keeper through his legs. A lot of our players wouldn't have done that. It would have gone wide. It would have hit the keeper. He's calm, collected. He's just fantastic. And he's I think one of the lads already said it. He's probably the best striker we've had since Barr. I do rate Rondon. Obviously, Rondon was a big player for us. But as Pete said, different kind of player. But him and Rondon up front, I mean, that would be amazing. I think Rondon's long gone now, but to go back to my original point, yeah, Wilson's so important to this team. He runs the channels, and he brings us higher up the pitch, and you can see that even in this game. As soon as the ball comes up over the top, he's pressurising. He's not giving the centre backs a second, and he's so massively important to this team. and I'm so pleased that we've got him. And yeah, that's all I've got to say on him. Like I say, he's really really important to us. He are straight again now. He's down the left. He's holding the play up and he's waiting for the players to catch up. He's just a great striker. And like I say, you've got to pinch ourselves to realise how lucky we are to get him.
Yeah, Fofana, trying to sell the referee a bit of a dive there before when Wilson clashed with him, and Wilson shrugged it off. The Leicester players were surrounding the referee and surrounding the player, but player moves on. 40 minutes in now. Newcastle 0, Leicester 0, and as the game ticks by, Newcastle's chances of picking up something from this game do look positive. I've got to say, I don't think it's been a great performance. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't seen what the possession figures are, but I would bet that Newcastle's probably at the usual 30% without even looking. And they're still in the game, still got an opportunity as Miguel Almiron goes down now after another clash. It's become a little bit messy, this game, and there's a lot of challenges going in, but they're not bad challenges, but people just getting little nicks and caught, and Almiron's just been caught in the eye there, I think, and he has a little mark underneath his left eye. It's broken the skin, bit of blood, some blood there. It might have just been a fingernail or whatever, but yeah, luckily it's not in the eye, so it's okay. But yeah, Rich, we've just come to you. Our lead, sorry, Callum Wilson.
For me, I see Leicester City. Look how Leicester City, how unite their effort for Vardy. I wish if we doing the same Newcastle. I wish if we were doing the same for Wilson. I don't see that we give him the much respect or thinking of making Wilson's score goals. For example, Almiron, Joelinton, the guys in the central midfield. They're not thinking that we have to help Wilson to score. I think just to make Steve Bruce just said, okay, Wilson, you are in the front, we are sitting back, just do your best. If we design, we can take much more from Wilson if we respect him enough and we give him, we design the formation more to make him score. That's why it was gonna be much helpful if either Fraser to play with Wilson, because I remember last year I was obsessed more about fantasy game. I always get notification, and at Bournemouth, as I remember, Wilson score, Fraser assist. So I wish if this happened, so we can we will do much better.
Just on that Halloween, there was two Wilsons. There was Harry Wilson as well, so it could have been the other Wilson.
Okay. No, I'm talking about Callum Wilson.
Yeah, Stu describes it as a 0-0 thriller. Just got the percentages up there. I think somebody did put them up on the chat. Yeah, Colin Wilson did. 42% possession for Newcastle today. Two shots on goal from Newcastle. One on target. No shots on target for Leicester at the moment. Of course, Leicester had a corner. But yeah, I mean, it's a 0-0 thriller as Stu describes it. And Chris, as we come into half time, hasn't been a bad performance, really. Newcastle continuing in the same kind of shape and form as they did against Liverpool.
Yeah, we've criticized in the past, rightly so, the midfield play. Like, they've had no midfield, and it's sort of like the opposing side just blow through from our forwards to straight through to our defenders. I think that Bruce is starting to figure out how to solidify the midfield. Obviously, we have some injuries, and if everyone was healthy, this wouldn't be our exact lineup. But for the healthy players that we do have and players on the bench, I think we are sort of figuring out a shape. And having some midfield hold-up play is sort of key to sort of slowing down counterattacks and keeping possession reasonable. So I feel like Newcastle's never going to be dominating possession and never going to be playing like a tiki-taka Barcelona type play. But with the squad that we have healthy, performing at the level that they are, I think not. And again, I sound like a broken record on this, but I feel like we somehow do kind of turn an extra gear when we play against the top 4, top 6 teams that we just don't often bring when we play against the teams in the bottom 6, the bottom 4, that we should be getting maximum points off of. I'd like to see Andre or somebody have a stat from like the last, as long as I've been in the UK, it's 2015, about how many points we've gotten off the so-called Big Six, or the top 6 teams versus the bottom 6, and I think it would fairly consistently show that we've been able to nick some points off of top squads that we haven't gotten from the bottom 6. So maybe that's another factor.
Yeah, good point by Mike Gent. Leicester away from 19 points is based on a counter-attack setup, hence why we're having more of the ball without being a threat. Yeah, good point, Mike. Spenny, coming in half-time, 4 minutes of added time to go, and yeah, it's pretty much the same as the Liverpool game, this. Oh, you're on mute, Spenny. You've done it.
Spenny did the Spenny.
The man who started off the mute on the NUFC matter has done it for the first time in the new year. Go for it now, mate.
Well, that's a yellow card for me, isn't it? I think the Longstaff Blues are doing brilliant in midfield, keeping them, holding them down there. For me, they're keeping it tight. Like that's what we've been lacking, a bit of, like you said earlier, a bit of bite in midfield. So I think we're doing all right. It's steady the same, especially Leicester are a good team away, like you just pointed out there.
Yeah, okay. Corner to Leicester with a couple of minutes left on the clock with the first half, Daz. Don't really want to jinx it, but it's been okay so far.
Yeah, so far it's been okay, Steve. Like we set out our stall at the 5-4-1 like we did against Liverpool. Some people don't like when I say we got lucky, we worked out for us. Maybe we don't use that word anymore if we get a draw here again today. I'd happily take a 0-0 in this game. And like we are defensive here. Like if we did try and go more attacking and go for the win, then we're going to run into back to our short blanket syndrome, where we leave ourselves open at the back, and they'll definitely score then. So I think we have to stick it with the tactics we're going with. Maybe we do switch it up later on as people tire, and maybe look at bringing in a bit of pace again on the wing. Maybe switching the likes of Almiron and Joelinton, and bringing on maybe Murphy and maybe even Gayle. Like we try to make it slightly more attacking then, but still stick with the same formation. And if it ends in 0-0, I'll definitely be happy with the point out of this one as well.
Yeah, okay. Pete, that corner was cleared. Newcastle have a free kick with about 30 seconds left in the first half. Happy with the game so far?
Yeah, because we're still in it. Leicester have had some half chances. Obviously, the one that was offside, I'm not really including that because it was offside. There had some half chances, but look, you talked about possession and as having more possession. I'm not surprised because look, Leicester won the Premier League with the least amount of possession for a team that have won the Premier League before. And they don't have a lot of possession because, like you said, they rely heavily on the counter-attack because they can hurt teams that way. So I expect that. But actually, what that does, it creates the counter-attack, because what it does, it pushes us further forward. And the times they've actually tried to hurt us is on the counter-attack from us having the ball. So, the longer we continue to battle and continue to be a problem going forward, the better it will be for us. It's very similar to the Liverpool game. So definitely happy. I just worry that we're going to tire and we're going to switch off for a second. Hopefully we don't. But the longer we're in the game, the more we've got a chance of winning it.
Yeah, we're coming up to the end of the first half now. Just clock ticking down. We've gone over the allocated 4 minutes as Leicester push forward here. Just stick with the action. Newcastle seem to have the ball under control. Yeah, that's a free kick to Newcastle, and can't be much longer now. We're into the 50th minute of the first half. But yeah, look, it's been a dogged performance again. It's probably the best way to describe it. And Chris, it's it's just good to see the effort. I think that's what we've lacked in games. That's why the Brentford game was a big disappointment. There was just a lack of effort as we now reach half time. Newcastle 0, Leicester 0. A lack of effort is something you can never excuse for your football team. There's been effort in the last couple of games in against Liverpool and today, and that's it's refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. Do you know what? I was going to use that very word, dogged, because that has described the first half really well. It's when you see the effort and when you see players trying, it's very hard to criticise. Like even now, if we were going to give a man of the match right now, it'd be difficult because in terms of bits of quality and things that players have done well, but in terms of effort, if you were marking the players for effort in this first half, most of them would be scoring 7, 8, 9. They've really worked hard and they've really tried the very best, to stay in the game, and that's exactly what we've done. And the longer that we stay in the game, and I've always felt like this with Newcastle, especially since the Pardew, McLaren days. The longer that we stay in the game, the more hope and belief that we have, I think, as a team and as fans, that we can nick something. I mean, there's every opportunity for us to win this match here. Leicester have got a lot of quality, and they're showing that, and maybe in the second half they'll pick that up. But there's been some great performances out there today, and it makes you proud as a fan because you think, any neutral watching this game and think, bloody hell, Newcastle having to go there. We're not just, which we've done in previous games, we're not just lying down saying, go on, you win the match, and we'll just hope for something lucky. We're actually going toe to toe with them, having a go at them, and it's actually enjoyable to watch the game. Like I've enjoyed this first half, and I enjoyed the match against Liverpool. And long may this continue. I don't know what Bruce has done, whether he's tweaked a couple of things slightly, or whether the players have just thought, we need to roll our sleeves up here and actually just put a bit of effort in. Because I'm looking forward to the second half now because there's an opportunity here for us to win the match.
Yep, there is. Martin, welcome along, mate. You were missed. People were asking where Ant was, and you've appeared at half time. Good to see you, mate. Give us your views on that first half.
Yeah, I was out mooching on the beach. Dog out for a walk in the headspace, so that was nice. I've only really watched the last 10 minutes, but I think Chris is right. They've looked okay. I think the only real concern for me would be the ball between the two lines. Maddison and Callum get a little bit of space between the two banks. So I think if we can manage that, we look okay. We're holding on, we're pressing when we need to. So it looks fairly similar. I think obviously both the long shots in, they seem to be doing okay. But Maddison's always a danger man for me. I think he can make something out of nothing. And Vardy's got place to burn. I think if we can manage the two lines, then it's certainly the last time I've been watching, we've been okay. So yeah, let's see what the second half brings.
Yep, okay, mate. Good stuff. Rich, your take on that first half? Newcastle 0, Leicester 0.
I think it's been a good performance from the lads. They've pretty much continued from where they left off against Liverpool. I think we all can see it's basically down to a lot of work rate. One thing I would probably say, and I think anyone who's ever done coaching before, I coached grassroots kids from under 7s for 5 years. And the one thing I always said to them was, it doesn't matter about your ability, but as long as you give 100% on the pitch, you don't care what the result is. Now, with Newcastle, the team we've got, we're never, ever going to win every single game. But what us Newcastle fans want from our team is a bit of work rate. In the last 2 games, we've had that, and we've got something out of it. And as Steve mentioned earlier on, why couldn't we have played like that against Brentford? If we'd have played with that sort of work rate against Brentford, we could be sitting in a cup final of the Carabao Cup this week against Spurs. One thing I did notice, I like how the Longstaffs have played together. They've got in and around the creative midfielders of Leicester, who have been niggling the referee quite a few times for the tackles that they've been receiving and not happy about it, which means they're rattled, which means they're not going to play the natural game because they're always going to think they're going to get their ankles took away from them or nicked or whatever. So possession-wise, we've had a little bit more. Obviously, that's mainly down to Leicester being a counter-attacking side as well, just the one with a lot more ability than what we are. But I think there's potential that, if it keeps on going the way we do, if we make any tackling substitutions later on in the second half, we can attack that back four. And I think we could probably get at least a point, possibly more.
Okay, good stuff, Chris. Who would you like to see come on in the second half?
Who did we not have on? Let's see. I'd have to remember who's on the bench that we've got.
Who's on the bench? There you go. Dubravka, Dummett, Carroll, Shelby, Gayle, Hendrick, Kraft, Manquillo, and Murphy.
Yeah, I put Murphy on. He's been playing well. He deserves to be in the match. And then we're not really getting much from Joe.
Oh, Chris is gone. Give him 2 seconds to come back. No, Spenny, come to you. Unmute, mate. Good stuff. Who would you bring on in the second half?
See, I'm getting better. Murphy. I've got to have Murphy on instead of Joelinton. Joelinton's touch is terrible. Simple as that. I'm not a supporter. I'll give everybody I'll give her a chance, but I've given him too many chances, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't mind Gayle coming on as well, some capacity, unless Alma runs. Doesn't look like it's his day today. I think he should have been pacing up against the defender, Chris Payton, was saying, the ex-Sunderland player. I thought he might have had a go at him a bit, but I put Gayle and Murphy on. A bit more attacking options, because midfield and defence are playing well.
Okay, Daz, you touched on it a little bit, but looking at what we've done in the first half, let's just maybe look at the midfield performance. Obviously the two long staffs are in there. How do you think they've done in that first half?
Yeah, I wouldn't change that, to tell you the truth, because the option for there is going to be either Hendrick or Shelby, and I wouldn't switch them unless they were really tired or something. Definitely wouldn't take Matty Longstaff off. But yeah, as I kind of touched on, I'd look at Joelinton and Miron and bring it on Murphy and Gayle. But I'd say it'd be Murphy that would come on first, and then Gayle towards the last 10 minutes. If we go behind, definitely bring on Gayle. And maybe then look to switch it up, go to something kind of like a 4-4-2 or something like that. But no, keep it the way it is really, and just maybe slightly change the personnel as the game goes on. Nothing will happen, nothing will change in up to 60 minutes anyway. We come to expect that now at this stage.
Yeah, okay. Al-Walid, over to you, mate. Any changes that you would like to make at half-time? Newcastle 0, Leicester 0, and not a bad performance from the Mags today, it has to be said.
Up to me, or or Steve Bruce? What gonna do? What he's gonna do?
Well, I mean, Steve Bruce is the man who makes the decision. But what would you like to see as a supporter?
All right. For me, I would like to put Gayle or Fraser to try to make just one opportunity to score a goal, because I think zero shot on target. Unfortunately, Steve Bruce will just thinking how to keep this result. So, or how he play, he just want to continue, or he will make substitution to keep this result. Not thinking about, he's fine if we getting the same what we get against Liverpool, as obviously that we get much confident because we stop Liverpool, and I see it's not hard to stop Leicester.
Okay. Martin, for you, changes in the second half. I mean, the Joelinton out brigade has been quite active today. Lots of people don't want to see Joelinton in the starting lineup or in the squad. Would you consider bringing Gayle on? Would you leave it as it is? What changes would you like to see in the second half?
For me, probably Murphy beforehand. I think he's a little bit of lucky maybe not to be in there. I think he's been playing it really well. I think for me, like watching Joelinton, like sometimes it's his first touch. Like his first touch was awful. Like I said it the other night, like he's a big lad. I wanted to see him put himself about a bit more. I wanted to see him put himself up against the defenders. Like he should be up there alongside Wilson, or the two of them kind of pulling back and forth. He should be up there with Evans and their central defence, giving them a hard time. And he doesn't put himself about enough for me. I think Daz is right. Bruce will leave it, as he always does, 60, 65 minutes before we look to change. And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Murphy first and then maybe Gayle. So I think he'll leave as is for now.
Yep. Okay, Pete, what's your take on this this side? Is it as you were? Do you think at the start of the second half? Would you make any changes?
I don't think we need to make any changes at the moment. I think the team's obviously doing what it's intended to do, which is make it difficult, make life difficult for Leicester, be defensively solid, and try and push them up the field, which is what we're doing at the moment. I would say as the game ticks on, the one change, and I think Martin's already mentioned it, is a swap for Joelinton and Murphy. The only issue I have is that Murphy's first touch is not much better than Joelinton's, but he is a better genuine threat in terms of his directness and the fact that he's got pace to burn and he'll run at Leicester's midfield and defenders. So that's what we'd want later on in the game, someone with a little bit more pace to give them a few more problems going forward. And we've already seen his ability to cross the ball. He can put in a good ball at times, and you know that could be the difference. That ball into the box, that little bit of quality delivery. We had one decent cross in the first half from Fernandes for Joelinton's header at the keeper, but we've not had any more, and we need more. You know, we talk about Wilson and the likes of who's getting in the box. They need service. So that would be my only real change. I just wanted to mention Gale's not played for a while and he's been fit, and he's been on the bench. And even when Wilson's been dropped or rested, should we say, against Man City, Gayle barely featured. I just find that situation really strange. That he's fit and training and ready to play, and during this time where they've talked about rotation, he's barely featured. And with the January window now open, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, what do you take on that, Chris? What Pete's saying?
Sorry, you'll have to fill me in, Steve. Sorry, I only caught the last bit of it.
Well, go on, Pete. You ask him the question.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Obviously, we've had a busy Christmas period at the moment, and Dwight Gayle was barely featured, considering Bruce has talked about the fact that he wanted rotation and resting players, blah blah blah. He's been fit. He's been training every game. He's been on the bench every game. Some games he's come on for 10 minutes here and there. Some games he's not been on at all. I just find that really, really strange that he's not featured at all. And I just thought with the January transfer window opening, I just find it. I find it quite strange. His contract runs out in 6 months' time. He should be playing for his contract. I'm just starting to think, as he said to the club, I want to leave. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a funny one actually, mate. Yeah, it's funny you say that because if you remember when Bruce came in, he bigged Gayle up, didn't he? And said he tried to sign him a couple of times for clubs he was at. And to be fair, whenever Gale's come on, I've never seen Gayle come on and after the game thought, oh, that was useless or that wasn't very good. You know, Gayle gives you running, doesn't he? Bit like Wilson, obviously not at the same standard as Wilson, but he gives you options and he gives you fresh legs. And yeah, it's a good point, mate. Maybe something's happening. I mean, I said a while back that for me, you know, I would give Gayle a new contract in the sense that, you know, he's a good understudy for Wilson, albeit I wouldn't want him long term, but I'd certainly want to retain his value because, you know, you could easily get 10, 15 million for Gayle. You know, championship clubs would be trying to snap him up. And for us to just simply let his contract run down and let him go, it just seems a waste. And, you know, let's be honest, we've hardly got a plethora of strikers, have we? I mean, as soon as Wilson's out, it's like, what do we do? I'd certainly take Gayle over Joe or Muto, who's obviously out on loan. I'd take him over them two all day. So for him to not be getting a chance, it's interesting. Maybe he is on his way. Wouldn't surprise me if he went to West Brom, to be honest. Maybe Allardyce has had a word.
Maybe it's just because it was interesting. Bruce is saying that he's talking to all those ones that were listed in terms of contracts running out in the summer, and obviously Gayle was one of them. And at this point in time, it's easy to say they're in contract talks, but the players hold the power at the moment. With Fabian Shaw, for example, he's had Inter Milan and whatever after him. If he wants to run down his contract and get a big fat, signing on fee, Gayle can be in the same boat. He could move on, may not be on the same amount of wages that he's on at Newcastle, but that big, huge signing on fee that he could get, rather than a transfer fee, could be the kicker. And if he's turned around and told the club, I'm not going to stay, I'm going to leave in the summer, the club might have turned around and, Ashley being Ashley, trying to get money wherever he can, might have turned around and said, if you're going to go in the summer, we'll sell you now and get a little bit of money for you. I don't know. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying it's right. I just find it strange that Dwight Gayle, like you said, Chris, all the talk that Steve Bruce has had about Gayle and how we tried to sign him and how much he rates him as a player is barely featured when we've had a lot of games to play over the Christmas period. I took the fact that he didn't start against Brentford with the fact that he would probably start against Man City or Liverpool, and he's barely featured in either. So I just find that situation really, really weird.
Second half's kicked off at St James's Park. No changes, so it is as you were with regards to the two squads and the two teams. There's Newcastle's lineup: Darlow, Yedlin, Fernandez captaining the side, Shaw, Clark, Ritchie, Longstaff, Matty and Sean both in the middle today. Almiron, Joelinton and Callum Wilson. On the bench we've got Dubravka, Dummett, Carroll, Shelby, Gayle, Hendrick, Kraft, Manquillo and Murphy, so plenty of options on the bench. And Leicester lineup: Schmeichel, Justin, Fofana, Evans, Castagna and Diddy, Tillemans, Albrighton, Maddison, Bonds and Vardy. Newcastle 0, Leicester 0, kicked off at St James's Park. And lots of comments coming in as always. Thanks for all your support. Another 100 new subscribers this week, so a big thank you to everybody who has subscribed. It means a lot to the NUFC Matters community, or cult as we're sometimes referred to. And a big shout out to newworkwear.com, the specialists in supply and branding of clothing for the workplace. Today is their last day of sponsorship. I'm sure that they will be back. We've had 2 great months with the lads, Darren and the lads from there, so big shout out to them. Also a big shout out to our ongoing sponsor, qtechshop.co.uk. The makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend and Newcastle, and many other things as well. We do have a new sponsor which we will be announcing on Ladies' Night on Monday night. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes and Spotify. Great to see that so many people now who miss the show live are managing to find us on there. Again, it's free. Just search for NUFC Matters. And anybody's fancying a t-shirt to join me and the lads and the lasses who all have ours now, newcastlelegends.com. Order your NUFC Matters t-shirt there. So, second half kicked off. Vardy's just gone through and put a shot wide. Chris, bit similar to the old Mo Salah situation for Liverpool. I keep saying this is very similar to the Liverpool game. Newcastle defending, having more possession. Leicester trying to catch us on the counter-attack. But so far, no shooting boots on. And Jamie Vardy kicking the Hordens, Ketspire style. Well, maybe he's not quite as good as that. At the Leazer's end in frustration. It's good to see.
Yeah, there was an offside goal, and that's really the closest that either side has come to scoring. And thankful for the offside call, as we don't get the calls going our way. I'm hearing an echo again.
Don't worry about it. Nobody else can hear it, mate. You just crack
push through. Maybe some voices in my head. Who knows?
Probably.
Yeah. So we'll see how it's going to go. Second half. When I got cut off or I cut myself off with a no computer battery, I was going to endorse bringing on possibly Andy Carroll for Joelinton. And bringing on Murphy to change up the midfield play a little bit. But I think, so far the lineup that we have is holding, so maybe Steve Bruce is for once right and holding off on subs until later in the game when he has to. So, yeah, we'll probably see like a 70th minute sub if it's still going. But it looks like the next goal will be the winner. I don't see a lot of goals in the second half to be a shootout. But, yeah, hopefully we nick one.
Okay, Daz, over to you, mate. That question on the screen, mate. As our resident Irishman today with Martin, and I'll get both your views on this. Your thoughts on Mike Ashley sponsoring an Irish football and hurling team? First I've heard of it.
First I've heard of it too.
Martin,
Who is it?
Martin, can you shine any light on this?
Not heard a thing, unless he thinks me and Daz are setting up an 11-a-side over here. News to me.
Well, Gwynn, if you can come back with some kind of information on that, I think we'll all be very interested. Give us a shout and let us know exactly what you've heard. Daz, second half's kicked off. 50 minutes now on the clock as Yedlin crosses the ball in, and Newcastle come close to opening the score in there. What a ball in by DeAndre Yedlin. He whipped the ball in. Nobody there to take the opportunity and put the ball in the back of the net. But Newcastle certainly pressing a little bit in this game as well. Even Stevens, still 0-0. Daz?
Yeah, not much has happened apart from that chance there. Let's see how it goes. It just on Yedlin though, he played well against Liverpool. He's playing well today. I know I told him to pack his bags and get ready for the Olympics with the sprinting, but no, he's proved himself over the last couple of games, so that's good to see. Nice to have another option instead of Mankion, who's on the bench now, so he seems to be back to fitness now as well after probably COVID. But we'll keep plugging away here. There's going to be chances at either end. I'd still be happy with the draw.
Yeah, I would be happy with a draw, but I've just got a sneaky feeling Newcastle could sneak this. We've got to keep it tight at the back, keep the same discipline. But it's anybody's game this at the moment. Al-Walid, 51 minutes in, Newcastle 0, Leicester 0. You were the man who was very confident that we were going to get something out of the Liverpool game. What was your prediction today? Because I was otherwise engaged when you were making predictions.
Actually, I said, let's pass what I said.
I think Alois said a 2-1 defeat.
So he wasn't optimistic today. Wow.
No, because it just, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the tactics of Leicester. They are not in a hurry to score. They have less pressure. As I said, respect Vardy, or designated the plan for Vardy. It's always easy for him to score, which was our plan for tonight, is to make it only plan we have tonight, to make it difficult on Leicester to score. I can't see you scoring a goal if no substitution regarding front of if we did like Gayle. I would like to comment on Gayle. I guess I am not sure which game. I think maybe Leeds game. I think he didn't do what he been told by Steve Bruce. I think that's it, because I notice Bruce very strict on instruction. I think the player who doesn't do exactly what he told, he will be benched for a while, as what happened with Matty Longstaff. I guess that's.
Okay, Al-Walid. Straight over to Martin for an update on Mike Ashley's sponsorship of an Irish football and curling team. Over to you, Martin.
Yeah, straight from the news desk. So just looking at the Irish Times here. So Mike Ashley, sports retailer, sports director owned by Mike Ashley, has agreed a deal with the Cork County Board to become the new sponsor of both its hurling and football teams. Understood the new contract is worth $2 million to the county board over 5 years, with performance bonuses of up to $2 million, including $200,000 for winning an all-island title for either the hurling or the Gaelic football teams. So that was a deal that was agreed about 10, 12 hours ago, supposedly, and announced this morning through the Irish Times.
Thank you to Gwinnane for coming up with that, and there he is as well, just pointing out that Martin's information is correct. So that is interesting to see. He is still clearly involved in football. Anything which will help him promote his sports brand globally is it makes it's no surprise.
Man!
Leicester take the lead as we talk about Mike
James
Ashley's
Maddison
status.
again.
James Maddison, and his little goal celebration is one of darts. Obviously, we've got the darts.
Poor defending.
Darts is obviously a major talking point at this moment in time with the World Championships, and his celebration is exactly that. But Maddison and Leicester delighted with taking the lead. Vardy
Who is marking him? What the Jesus, lads?
Look,
He got
Nobody.
tucked in, didn't he?
Longstaffs have
Got
run into
tucked
the
in.
box, but got no awareness of what's around them. Both of them have literally just been attracted to the ball. No communication. Look, they're both look. You've got 5 defenders there, all standing in a line, not marking Maddison whatsoever. Nobody's tracked the run. Poor communication there.
Yeah.
Poor communication.
It's got to be said, it's disappointing. Newcastle United's, defended quite well, against Liverpool and in that first half, but been caught with a sucker punch really there. And it could be. Referee's not giving it. Referee's not giving it.
Oh, how's it?
No, it's not given.
Are we going to VAR?
Surely VAR are going to look at that. They've got to.
Got him, man. His watch must be buzzing here.
It's when the play stops, isn't it?
We'll stay with this and see what happens, but that could be a penalty. We'll try and keep you as up to date as possible, but Newcastle at the moment 1-0 down. Hans Darlow has the ball. We're looking back now. Callum Wilson went through.
No, he got the ball.
Yeah, no penalty.
Yeah, he got the ball.
Yeah,
As much as
it hurts us to say, Castagna did get the ball. He did catch Wilson afterwards, and Wilson went down as any good centre forward would do. But like the lad said, both Longstaffs just followed the ball, and nobody followed the man. Newcastle find themselves 1-0 down, and God, that's disappointing.
Why does Joelinton do that as well? Like, the man's going nowhere, running backwards with the ball, and he shoulder charges into the back, like giving them a free kick on the halfway line. It's absolute ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get to grips with Maddison, as Paul Oxley said. Was a good goal. Maddison, key player for this team. We have tried to rattle him, but he's kept on going and got his just rewards. Spenny. Disappointing. 57 minutes gone. Newcastle 1-0 down now to Leicester.
I thought we were coming into the game, and all, Steve, tell you the truth. We've been unlucky a couple of times before that goal went in. Very disappointing, like you said. That's what we're missing, Maddison, in our team. Tell you the truth. Something like that. Going forward like that.
Yeah, and the stats just come up there, Spenny, when scoring first in games, wins, 7 games, 7 wins for Leicester, no draws, no defeats. So that's a foreboding statistic there, isn't it, as well?
It is and all. Like I said,
thing with that, Spenny, is that doesn't need to be Maddison that gets that ball and finishes. That could have been a defend. That could have been Johnny Evans got that ball. So he'd have freed him with the box to take his chance and aim and shoot. Nobody around him.
There's like 6 players on one man. Wasn't there? 64 defenders around one man, and just let Maddison just have a free shot on goal.
Like, surely as part of the setup, when the lad scored in the last 2 games against us, he's a main architect for free kicks and spraying the ball around. Surely somewhere in the midfield or an Almiron or one of the long stuff, you're going, right, when he's at this point and he's in this third, you're man marking.
End of the day, it's man mark, and you should be telling the players where the other players are. It's all about communication as well, man. You know yourself, you sit the half, you're shouting at these players, telling Mark, get him, get that. There's nothing like that happening. They're just sitting there following one man. No communication at all.
The Foxes with their tails up now as old Brighton goes through and pushing and looking for a second goal. Certainly got the bit between their teeth now, Leicester. Rich, disappointing really. Newcastle up. They've played their part in this game so far.
The Harvard, as Spenny said, we were coming into the game as well. There's chances either. And I think the one thing that we've lacked so far, when we've had those counter attacks on, there hasn't been that final quality in the final third. Almiron twice was trying to slide the ball through to Wilson, but unfortunately, he's played straight at the Leicester defender. Whereas then they go up the other end, and Vardy just has that little tight look up and find Maddison and acres of space when the inexperience of the two Longstaffs, no communication there, has just left them in acres of space, and with all the time in the world to put it past Darwin, unfortunately. But we did something against Liverpool the other night, which was keeping a clean sheet of the day. Fingers crossed we can break another little Premier League record this season, be the first team to get something off Leicester when they went ahead.
Yeah, records are there to be broken. You're certainly right there, Rich. Martin, Tillerman's just booked there, and hasn't been that kind of game. Been plenty of meaty challenges, not a great deal of bookings, but Newcastle now looking for a way back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're at 60 minutes now, 1 down. So is now the time to bring Gayle on, get Joelinton off, Gayle and Wilson, give that 10 minutes, and then maybe Murphy then to see can we get a few more balls whipped into the box is the way I'd go. But again, if we change it up slightly, we've got to watch those lines. Leicester are still there. They're playing some decent ball around, but I would be looking now maybe 62, 65 minutes, Gayle on, give it 5 or 10, and then Murphy on. But we need to change it up. If it's still like this at 70, 75, then we're going to be struggling again.
Doesn't make a change at 70 minutes, though, does he, Bruce?
No, he's got better. It's been 60, 62 minutes recently, but
right.
yeah, he is getting better. Ben Willett says, Martin, if you watch the goal back, the ball gets threaded through the lines and Longstaff can't keep up with Barnes. He's gone into a state of panic and was so desperate to get back, he forgot Maddison.
Well, I think Spenny's right. I think, look, somebody somewhere on that pitch, even one of the defenders looking at them running on, has got to be shouting at Matty or Sean going, man on, or cover, or something, like, I don't
behind there used to,
exactly.
The crowd behind there, didn't it, Martin? The whole crowd used to shout man on at them.
Yeah.
And they're missing that crowd again.
But for me, it's just it's any good team. If your playmaker is left free, you're going to get damaged. If you give them the freedom of the park, they'll cut you apart at some point. So, yeah, I mean, it was 2 great finishes from Maddison in the cup and in the league last season, and he punished us. So surely, again, you're looking at a game plan, and I know Bruce probably doesn't have one, but sure, even as 8, 9 of us sitting here, even we're going, somebody fucking watch Maddison, please. Someone watch Maddison. Someone watch Maddison. We got 5 defenders, 2 midfielders. Nobody picks him up.
It's dinosaur football. Going back to dinosaur football, you get videos of coaches of decent clubs showing you what players can do. Giving the players, the defenders, to do the homework. They're not doing the homework, are they?
Yeah, it's
all out.
It's frustrating, because Newcastle were in this game up until that goal went in. We haven't just suddenly gone from being a bad team to a team that can't play football. I know there's a lot of frustration about Bruce. We've all said it. We were in this game until that goal. Maddison's a good player. We didn't deal with him, Pete. The writing was on the wall. We got, there's plenty of warnings. We did get stuck into him in the first half, but this guy's a great player, and he knows where the goal is. And if you give him half a chance, he's going to take it.
Yeah, that's it. Said it from the beginning. He's one of them that he plays in between those lines. He's not a striker. He's not a centre midfielder. He plays as a number 10. He likes to pick up those little pockets. It's just a lack of communication all round. You've got 5 defenders all in a line there when Maddison gets the ball and he's got acres. He could have took a touch and still finished that, and that tells you everything. But it was always going to be the difference, just because Leicester set up slightly differently. When you're playing 3 at the back and you're only really occupying 1 striker, it can seem like an easy job. But when you've got Maddison there that's playing in between the 2 long staffs at the centre back, you've got to find a way of shutting that out. Whether a centre back comes out to collect him and to mark him up, or whether that centre back, whoever's free, is telling the midfield what they need to do, and the other guys in the panel have already said that. Again, I don't understand this substitution.
Always taking the over or no?
Where's
Miggy's on.
Joelinton playing on?
Miggy's done well. Miggy's done well.
Here we
Shelby's
go.
coming as well.
Oh, here's Shelby.
So Joelinton is going off for Shelby. So, I mean, look, the one thing that we lacked, and you could tell in the first half, is legs. Both Matty Longstaff's played well today. He's really controlled the ball. He looks really composed on the ball, makes things look simple. But the problem is when you're on a counter-attack like that, neither Matty or Sean are fast. Neither of them have got any sort of pace. And you could tell when the guy was running in just before they played the ball to Vardy, the guy that was running on the board in the counter-attack, they couldn't keep up with him. I think it might have been the Harvey Barnes. They just couldn't keep up with him. They just looked so slow alongside him that I think they were so worried about catching up with him and not being left behind that they forgot about who they were meant to be marking in their positional play, and they just got completely caught out there. We just need to go for this now. We need to go for it. We need to be more attacking. We need to push more men forward, and we need to say, right, okay, if we're going to lose it, let's go out with a bit of a fight. And try and commit players and not play balls like Yedlin there. Yedlin's played well apart from his final ball. He's had one good cross, but he's been in good positions where he just needs to play that right ball to the right player at the right time, and he hasn't done it today. It's the only thing that's let him down. But as I say, we need to go for this now and just say, look, let's go and attack them, because Leicester will sit back to a certain extent. A lot of their players and just have Vardy playing up there to try and catch us out.
Yeah, look, we've got a chance here. I've got a corner. I mean, Shelby coming on. I know everyone's groaning about it. He's not my favourite player at all. But one game in 10, Shelby produces something, and you never know. This could be that game. Murphy coming on's a positive. Was Almiron at the races today? Did he have a particularly good game? Did he do anything outstanding? It has to be said, probably not. I can understand that, but let's see. Joelinton, Joelinton was just Joelinton. Nothing I can really say about it. But never say never. Football's a funny old game, said Jimmy Greaves once. Chris Hall, let's see what happens. 66 minutes on the clock. Newcastle 0, Leicester 0. Chicken Oriental reckons Voldemort could save the day. Can John Joe Shelby make a difference?
Let's hope so. I mean, he hasn't played a lot of football recently, and it's clear that we need that little bit of magic, that little bit of something, because in a positive now, Steve Bruce has made the changes. Oh, hang on, I'm a bit behind you. Oh,
it was unlucky. It was unlucky. Well, just while with a little pause there, Yedlin just chipped the ball in. It fell to Murphy. Murphy took it under control. Tried a cheeky little lob with his right from the same side that Shearer scored against Schmeichel's old man against Villa. Wasn't quite the power or the accuracy, and unfortunately the ball went out for a goal kick. So Leicester trying to clear the lines now. Back to you, Chris Hall.
Yeah, you know what? I'm pleased that Bruce has reacted to this, because obviously the game is going to change now. It's going to open up a lot more, and I think, as one of the lads has just said, let's go for it. I mean, really, if we're all being truthful, today was a little bit of a free shot. I mean, I said I fancied us to win 2-0, which is obviously out the window now. But
Another opportunity. Chris Hall keeps getting interrupted here, but another opportunity for Newcastle. The ball getting played across the box, but nobody there to attack it. The problem was Wilson was at the edge of the box, setting the move up, played the ball to Murphy. Murphy held onto it, crossed the ball in, just nobody arriving on the end of it. And again, another lovely ball rolled across that 6-yard area, and we just didn't trouble Schmeichel in the slightest. But Wilson, a key, picking the ball up, as you can see by the stat we got earlier on. About Wilson being an integral part of creating chances as well as taking chances. He got the ball, just over the halfway line and basically created that chance himself. But back to you again, Chris.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm more than happy to be interrupted if it means we're doing something, which is nice. It's positive. So yeah, do you know what? He's made the changes. It's throwing it down now as well. He's made the changes, and we may as well have a go at it. As I say, to me, it was a little bit of a free shot. I was feeling really positive before the game. We've played really well up until that Maddison point. I mean, to go back to what some of the lads were saying then, it's naive, isn't it, from the long staffs, but they are the young lads. would it be a case of, you could put a little bit of the blame on the centre-backs, experience? I think we mentioned this a while ago on the show. You want your centre-backs to be shouting, saying, no, I don't want you here. Push out. Watch your men. And I think sometimes, that lack of communication does cost us. But yeah, let's see what this, 21, 22 minutes bring. But do you know what? These changes, they are free kick. No?
Offside.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. These changes seem to have brought about a little bit of positivity, and I'd much rather lose 2-0, 3-0 even, and have a go than continue, sitting back and taking a 1-0. I'd rather us try and get something off the game. And, Leicester haven't been fantastic today. Obviously, that little bit of magic from Maddison. Well, really, it was from Harvey Barnes, wasn't it? And do you know what, Pete? You're absolutely right. Harvey Barnes doesn't look quick at all, does he? And that injection of pace that he had just split us open.
Deceptive.
Yeah, it's deceptive. It is. But we're still very much in this, and let's hope we have a go and see if we can nick one back.
Okay, good stuff. Newcastle United 0, Leicester 1. 70 minutes on the clock at St James's Park, and the scoreline probably not quite a reflection on the game. We all watch different games. A lot of people saying this is rubbish, but I've seen worse. Newcastle certainly haven't been rubbish. Leicester haven't turned up really. The real Leicester haven't turned up, but they've done enough to find themselves winning 1-0. Chris A, with you as Leicester get a corner. The substitutions that we've made since we last spoke to you, mate, are you impressed with them or depressed?
I'm with you, Steve, that we rarely see any contribution from the Shelby. It's sort of like what 1 in 10 sounds like a Joelinton kind of ratio now. So I'm not seeing what he provides coming on as a late sub. Taking Almiron off, he was kind of absent from this game, so I don't have a problem with that per se. But I want to see more kind of dynamic play, and probably just kind of sits back and does the, odd pass, the highlight pass, but doesn't really provide much sort of counterattack or going forward play. And so I'm not inspired by his substitution at all.
Is VAR checking this? The ball bounced up on Yedlin's arm. No, that's been waved away. The referee hasn't looked at that. But the ball did bounce up, and of course, it's always heart in your mouth when.
Oh no! That's
a
peach again. Ball between two lines, two players not picked up.
Yeah, I've got to say, I will be writing a letter to the Premier League asking if we can not have Robert Jones referee, because he doesn't bring anything but bad luck. I mean, we had him for the League Cup against Brentford, and now Newcastle find themselves 2-0 down against Leicester. The ball was cleared by Newcastle with a goal kick. They picked it up in the middle of Leicester. They won it.
Look at the two lines. Yeah,
there you go.
In there, nobody. Shelby, Longstaff.
Yeah,
Paddy, nobody running back. All the space and time. That's a great finish, by the way.
Got to see
it is a great finish.
It's, again, as you described it, a peach of a finish. Again, Newcastle caught napping in the midfield area, and I did say at the start, it was going to be all about the midfield, and unfortunately, Leicester's Tielemans has made it 2-0. It's his 4th Premier League goal this season. It's his best Premier League scoring season apparently as well, which is surprising. But yeah, 2-0 to Leicester. Game over for me. 18 minutes gone now. Disappointing, it has to be said. And Rachel, I presume you are a Leicester fan. Welcome to the Matchday Live coverage. I have to disagree with you on the fact that you feel as if Newcastle might get relegated this season. I don't think we'll go down. I think we've got more than enough to stay up. But thanks for your comments. Daz, 2-0, mate. That's it now, isn't it? That's it now.
Yeah. But yeah, before, as you were going to come to me, and before they scored again, I was going to say, yeah, look, Bruce played his plan B. He hits Longstaff in the Sean Longstaff in the number 10 kind of position now, and then they'll bring on Gayle and try and nick a draw. But in which I think this is over now, and I think the next sub will be to take Wilson off and bring someone else on. Just if it's over, we might as well protect him. He's our only attacking asset we have. But I'd say he'll wait another few minutes before doing that. But yeah, it looks over now.
Yeah, the big concern here, though, Daz, is that the floodgates open, and you know, sometimes it comes down to confidence. It's, you know, lack of effort. Call it what you want. You know, Leicester are the kind of team, if they get another chance here, could probably get a third and then a fourth, and then suddenly the game just looks as if it's, you know, well, it's not a fair reflection on the way that the game's gone.
No, because we were playing well, and even when we were 1-0 down, I was going to say that we haven't had a bad day, but now it's looking worse and worse as we continue. Yeah, there could be more goals if we do try and go for it, bring on Gayle and keep Wilson on, and get Nick one. But does Bruce have the confidence that we could do that? I don't know at this stage. Even get one, but we'll see what he thinks. He's the manager after all.
Brucey was checking his watch. We'll see what he's going to do. One more substitution to make. Al Walid 2-0 down at home against Leicester. This is where we are, unfortunately. You know, it's probably a result many expected. We expected to lose against Leicester at home. We expected to lose against Liverpool, but we didn't. You know, should we really be surprised?
Actually, it's funny when I just see Bruce looking at his watch, what he is gonna doing.
What time the kebab shop's open? That's what a lot of people will be thinking.
It's fun.
Unfortunately, because anyway, the first goal, it was brothers Longstaff mistake, 100%. As Martin says, we have three centre back. Why Matty and Sean Staff running toward Vardy? Why are you leaving Maddison, or you are not covering the main area of centre midfielder? Second goal, I think, okay, wrong intervention by Steve Bruce. Okay, he put Shelby and make maybe to fix. Okay. Maybe we fix the gap in the center midfield, but same mistake happened again. Because I notice when Shelby on, Staff brothers go forward, maybe just to attacking assignment or to take a chance or try to help in front. But again, same mistake. We're covering Tielemans. We miss it, and it's covered. It's mistakes. It happens because, as I said earlier, Leicester City, they are not in a hurry to score. They are organized. They just waiting and doing what they are good for.
Leicester almost going 3-0 up. Vardy with a fantastic strike again, just hit it on the half volley and crashed off the upright and came back out. Darlow beating all ends up. Spenny 2-0 down, 77 minutes on the clock. Newcastle looking at another defeat here. That bottom of the table and the gap between us and the bottom is narrowing. The only thing really that we can be confident about at the moment is that the bottom three are not playing well at all.
No, they're like Sheffield United and them are being poor this season, haven't they? It's in showing the real colours. Push. You got to can't knock Leicester minded. They're playing well. They're a cracking team. It's just frustration to see a team like Leicester doing well, like in showing having a team like this. It's because we could be like that if we had the right ownership. Simple as that. And the right coaches in. We could be a team like Leicester. No problem.
Andy Carroll coming on.
Come on. Fucking hell.
Happy birthday, everyone.
Is your theory true, I wonder, Pete? With Gayle? I wonder, is your theory now true with the Gayle not coming on there?
I'm not being funny, guys. But you're looking for a goal to try and get yourself back into the game. You do not bring Andy Carroll on. I'm sorry, if you're looking for a goal, you do not bring John Joe Shelby on. They bring nothing to this game. You bring attacking intent. You brought Jacob Murphy off and brought Almiron on. Almiron was making interceptions, was creating counterattacks throughout the game, and was being a menace higher up the pitch. You bring Jacob Murphy on to do exactly the same, and you have all three of them attacking. Otherwise, you bring Dwight Gayle on. You don't bring Andy Carroll on. We've not even looked to ball into a box.
Especially don't put him on. Especially don't put Andy Carroll on if you're paying for him when he's playing. And you're getting beat 2-0.
Look, he's because he's one of his mates. That's why he's one of his boys. That's why he's giving him games. And it just makes me ask the question even more. Why is Dwight Gayle not playing? That's why I brought it up. Because it doesn't make any sense.
I think you've got something though, Pete, because at the end of the day, if you look at the West Brom game, we needed a goal, and who do you bring on? Gayle, and who got the winner? Gayle. There's just no sense in it whatsoever. Carroll hasn't scored since he's been back at the town, and all of a sudden he brings him on as as the goal scoring option. He thinks might sneak a goal. It's never going to happen.
Yeah. He could be leaving. Gayle, you never know. But a lot of people seem to think that the potential that he could be going, and that's the reason they're just keeping him. They're keeping him on the bench. Leicester go with their own ponytailed player, Soyuncu, who comes on. Maddison, who probably would have got a standing ovation, it has to be said, from the St James's Park fans for his performance. We often admire players from other teams, and he had an absolute stormer today. Man of the match by far for me, Maddison, absolutely outstanding. But yes, 80 minutes on the clock now. Newcastle 0, Leicester 2. Andy Carroll coming on, Rich. It's just not a forward step, and there is that possibility that a couple of these players who aren't getting a look in could be going out, and that would help us bring players in.
Yeah, I think that's probably they've said that we're going to have to make space in the squad to bring people in. The only reason why I can think they're bringing Carroll up is because when we've had set pieces, we've looked a little bit dangerous, but that's about it. But 2-0 is one of those score lines where they always say that the third goal is the most decisive one. You get the 2-1, it makes Leicester nervous. I don't understand why. What Bruce look at he's watched about 71 minutes and then didn't make a change for nearly another 10 minutes after actually making the decision what he was going to do. It just makes no sense. But Carroll scored.
Get in!
Right, we need to just turn off now, and everybody needs to quit now.
Yeah.
Rachel, that one's...
Andy Carroll will never score.
I've been waiting
Rachel, that one's for you, Pet. Watching in Leicester, Andy Carroll hasn't scored for we've lost count, to be honest, and he's managed to get a goal against Leicester. And your answer to your question about will Leicester win the league, not when people like Andy Carroll can score against them, believe you me. But hey, fantastic that. What a goal. And it was a hell of a strike, a left-footed strike, ball dropped, hit it first time, went through a crowd of players. Schmeichel's got his hand up. He's appealing for offside.
He's well onside.
He's well onside. There was a defence
by Barnes, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was.
Well, that is great. The goal stands absolutely superb. Commentators curse there. Are we going to have an Everton type of result here when we were 2-0 down and we got 2 goals in the last few minutes of the game? Could be interesting. Could Newcastle turn this around and get something out of the game? Ian Hutchinson retracts his previous statement. There'll be a bit of that going on.
Andy.
To the corner. Andy's on. He's up for it, isn't he?
Andy's on fire.
Corner.
Your defence is terrified.
Well, at least if he does retire, he got his final goal in black and white. So there you go.
First goal in the Premier League since he scored for West Ham in April 2018. What a stat that is. Martin, we'll come to you with a corner. Can Big Andy get his second?
If he does, then we definitely need to just shut down. Look, shock. Nobody would have called it. The ball's coming in, heads go up, bodies everywhere.
Go
on, Andy.
No, Leicester breaking. No, good stop there, by Sean, get it in.
Carroll reverting to type there. Newcastle 2-1 down, 7 minutes plus stoppages to play though, and we're back in it. Martin. Didn't see this at all. Goals in the final 10
Good
minutes.
Good stuff from that thing.
Yeah, scored 8. Newcastle equal first, conceded 8, equal 18th. Goals in the final 10 minutes.
Could go either way. Look, I think we played okay. I'm just baffled at the substitutions, like the lads Shelby looks absolutely wrecked. I don't know what he's going to give us. Look, the Longstaff's midfield, we've been overrun. Steve, as you said, Maddison by far the best player on the pitch. But look, Carroll's come on. He's got the goal. I'm sure, Bruce will be lamping the plaudits and going, as an inspired substitution and yada, yada. I was fun. But for me, and Pete made a point there before, there's a couple of things. Okay, at 2-0 down, one thing we don't want to do is start conceding more, because goal difference, you don't want it to come to a point. As much as Sheffield United and a couple of others are definitely looking worse than us at the moment, there's not a lot of points between some of those teams below us. And you could very easily, with 2 or 3 losses and one of those below picking up a win, you could very easily get dragged into it. So I wouldn't want to get to a point where we're counting on goal difference to keep us apart from somebody else in the bottom 3. If we employ the same tactics in some of the other games, yeah, look, we're probably going to do okay. There are worse teams there. But for me, like, the start of the game, we played well. But, like, we're at home. Souness said at half-time, watching Newcastle is painful. If you're a fan, it's painful. And it is, because you're sitting there going, as Pete said, listen, and Chris, we might go out and lose 2 or 3-0, but go out and go at it. Like, we're at home. We're the home team. So go out. You're still at St. James's. Go out and try and win the second balls. Get stuck in. Put yourself about and go out there. And, we just don't seem to have that bit of bite about it. I think Murphy's played okay since he's come on. Was Almiron slightly off the game? Probably. But look, 2-1. Best parts of 5 minutes still to go. You never know.
Yep, you never know. Newcastle United 2-1 down at home to Leicester. 5 minutes plus stoppages on the clock. Pete, great goal by Andy Carroll. Can you see a way back into this?
There's a way, because there's enough time left in the game, and as long as we keep playing in their half and keep committing them, there's always a chance. Look, I've got to say, look, I was baffled about the choice of bringing Andy Carroll on. I have to say that finish was outstanding, and that finish was classic Andy Carroll. Everyone talks about how good he is in the air, but he's always been fantastic with his left foot. He's had a really good swing at his left foot. And yeah,
that was their chance.
Oh, that was a great chance.
Yeah, I think the flag was up.
Anyway.
The flag was up, but this is the thing. The more we keep playing in their half, the more we keep putting pressure on them, the more potential opportunities going to pop up. Look, they've took Maddison off. They thought it was game over. They took him off. So now we're in a position where we can go and attack them and really put some pressure on their defence. And let's see what happens.
Yep.
Just to add before the end. I think a few of the lads have talked about the other teams below us dropping points. This has been Bruce's saviour, really. The fact that
great save, Darlow.
Great save, Darlow. This has been Bruce's saviour. The fact that all the teams at the bottom continue to lose. So this then becomes, we talked about these 3 games that we've just coming to the end of now, and it being a really tough period. But we've been so lucky that during that period that the teams below us just keep dropping points constantly. Yeah. So all these games that we've lost or not maximum points, they've been sort of ended up being free hits. And this is what it is today, which is why I said at 2-0 down, let's just go for it. It is a free hit. If we lose, we're not losing any ground on the likes of Fulham, Sheffield United, and West Brom. We're not losing any ground whatsoever. Let's just go for it and make it difficult.
It was a rather unconventional save that by Darlow. He took it full in the face. He's still recovering from it as Newcastle do their best to clear this corner, and it's Andy Carroll at the back again who, after getting Newcastle back in the game with a wonderful strike, is doing his defensive duties as well. Leicester will stay with this, crossing the ball in. Newcastle picking their men up and getting the ball away through Murphy, who is trying to counter-attack. Chris Hall, hoping now that we can get something out of this as the ball's pumped forward to Wilson rather hopefully, but comes to nothing.
Men around him. We need to get men around him up there. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go on, Chris Hall.
Yeah, no. Well, as you all know, I think I'm probably the only person who's still flying the Andy Carroll flag. I don't know. I just love Big Andy. I think, people forget last season he had that spell of games where he was in the team, and I think it was about 4 or 5 games, and he was integral towards picking points up. He got a couple of assists on the bounce, or it might have been 3 assists. And I just think with Andy Carroll, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's like a walking injury, isn't he? And he's very frustrating. But like games like this is exactly what you want from Andy Carroll. He's a bother. You see him defending at one end, hitting a fantastic strike at the other end, and he just makes defenders. Oh, where is everyone? Where is everyone?
Get into the box, man. Seriously.
Shelby with his mercurial left foot put the ball across the box. Nobody there again. Nobody to put the ball in. Surprising. Wilson's doing so much work outside the box that he can't be in 2 places at once. And he's winning the ball and doing sometimes what the midfielder should be doing. And he's not in the 6-yard box when those balls are getting put across. And that's frustrating. We could have had 2 or 3 goals from that alone today. The balls that have been put in have been good enough. We'll stick with this again. Murphy, we'll come to Murphy. It's a throw into Newcastle, right in the corner. Fernandez with the throw in. Matty Longstaff cushions it to Fernandez. Murphy's got the ball.
Come on.
Newcastle lose it, and 90 minutes on the clock, and we've got 4 minutes added time. So still that chance for Newcastle to get something out of this game. Chris Hall.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Steve, just going back to Andy Carroll. I'm not trying to say, the local lad thing. I'm not trying to say that, but he's one of those players where as a centre back, you don't want to play against Andy Carroll. And since he's come back on a pay-as-you-play deal, will I feel differently under a different regime? Probably, because it's probably a waste of a squad number. But at the moment, and the options that we've got, when you think up front, we've got Wilson, we've got Gayle, we've got Joe, we've got Muto, who's out on loan, as I said before. Having someone like Cavill on the bench, it makes a difference because he's everywhere and he's awkward, and I can't compare him. Well, the nearest person I can compare to him is Chris Wood at Burnley. He's just one of those horrible, nasty players who players don't want to play against. And I just wish he brought him on a little bit earlier, because I mean, just imagine now if we had a little 10-15 minutes, you'd say this game's going to be turned on its head. Don't get me wrong, I still think Gayle should have come on, in order to, run those lines and cause problems as Wilson does for us. But yeah, I still think Andy Carroll's got something to offer. And on a pay-as-you-play, if he's on like a standard 20 grand a week and then he gets money for an appearance, money for a goal, I've just got no problem with that whatsoever. If he was on 80 grand a week, I wouldn't want him because, it's not worth it. But
yeah, Newcastle 1, Leicester 2. Vardy has got the ball heading towards Newcastle's goal again. Leicester looking to put their final seal on this, and just Vardy getting the ball, doing what he does well, taking it out of the corners, looking to play it back to the midfield. And 2 minutes left of injury time. Leicester still pressing, and if you are a new time visitor to the channel, click on the right, this little emblem down in the bottom right-hand corner, and subscribe to the channel. We've got shows on 7 days a week, and we are back 7 days a week live this week. Ladies' night on Monday, back with Liam Kennedy from the Shields Gazette on Tuesday. Wednesday night is retro night, where we'll be doing Nottingham Forest this week. Some great games against Nottingham Forest over the years. Thursday night, it'll be Super Mac and John Gibson. And then Friday night, we've got the Three Amigos. And we've got a very special guest on Friday night. We have Keith from the Newcastle Fans Consortium, who will be coming on to talk about their actions, what they have done. Talk a little bit about some of the negativity they received for putting their heads above that famous parapet. So looking forward to hearing from Keith. He'll be taking your questions, of course, and 2 hours of questions can come from Newcastle fans on that. It's a good exclusive for us to have at NUFC Matters. 1 minute to go. Newcastle 1, Leicester 2. Got to say, I'm not going to be slating the lads tonight or Steve Bruce. We've seen what we expected. Where Newcastle look as if they've lost this game. I was still hopeful of getting something out of it, but there's been a performance there. It's been a better performance than in recent weeks. We've carried on in the same vein as the Liverpool game. I'm not too despondent, and I think Newcastle have had it has to be described as a really hard Christmas fixture list. And look, we've come out of it a lot better than a lot of us thought. When you look at the likes of West Brom, etc., getting whopped at every opportunity, Newcastle haven't done as bad as we thought. And as we hit 94 minutes now, Leicester have a free kick in Newcastle's half at the Leazes end. Looks as if we're going to play it out, and I think that's it. Full time. Newcastle have lost by 2-1 at home to Leicester City, who continue their race for a European slot. And let's go to you, Chris, for your summing up of that game.
All right, so yeah, we're currently sitting 15th, staying 15th, which is probably sort of where I expected us to be. I was thinking, one thing we're talking about is the hard festive season fixtures. We began, I think, last season with playing like all of the top 6 in the first 6 or 7 matches of the season. They sort of loaded them into the December, January period this time. So, we were probably on average a little higher than we we usually are coming into the festive period. And it's kind of settled out, emerging, not in the drop zone. Let's see, how many points are we clear? Not everyone has played. We're currently 8 points off the drop zone. We've played one more match than Fulham. So yeah, I mean, it could be worse. We didn't expect it to be much better than this, given Ashley's not spending that much money, and we did obviously quite well with a limited budget of 35 million, being able to convert that into getting Wilson. We haven't really seen Fraser, obviously on a free, and then I'm forgetting the name of the defender we paid 14 million for. But all in all, we're paying our 35 million to be in 15th. Not bad, but obviously not where we want to be, averaging 13th throughout Mike Ashley's tenure, and sort of, if that's the best we can hope for, to be 13th. We obviously want something better, and that's where we want to take over.
Yeah, okay, man of the match.
Man of the match. I'm just going to give it to Andy Carroll, just because, like other lads have said, he hasn't scored, but he was sort of integral last season, and provides something of a spark that we just don't have in our regular players who are able-bodied and have been fit. So yeah, Andy Carroll, man of the match for me.
Okay, Daz, over to you, mate. Just a quick analysis of that game and your man of the match, please.
Yeah, look at we were playing another top 4 team. We got what we expected, really. Look, we didn't play too badly. The second goal was the obvious killer. It was like I gave Bruce, let's say, 2 options there: either take Wilson off and just call it a day, or go for it. And he went for it with his plan B. He mixed it up. So credit to him again. He tried something. If he didn't try anything, we'd have something else to say. So he tried it. It didn't work out. If we had a few more minutes, or Gayle maybe on the pitch, we could have got something different. But look at we got 1 point from the 9 over these 3 difficult games over the Christmas period. It wasn't our day. Live to fight another day, and look at we have more options now in midfield with the likes of Matty Longstaff in there. For the games ahead, and let's see him use those players for the games that we have a better chance of winning and taking points from. And my man of the match, actually, I'm going to go same as Chris. Actually, just give her sentimental value. I'm going to give it to Andy Carroll. He's been looking for that goal for a long time. We totally wrote him off. And he can play this back and quote us, but fair play to him. He got a goal. That could be his last goal ever for us. So, thank you, Andy.
Man of the match for me, I would say his crossing wasn't great, but defensively played well, gave us an attacking threat. I'm going to give it to Yedlin. I thought he played well against Liverpool as well, to be honest, but I'm going to give it to Yedlin today. Al Walid, your man of the match, please, and your assessment of the game today.
We did very great at the beginning of the game. The difference between the Liverpool game and Leicester today game is the team himself. Liverpool was under pressure. He must win to keep in first position. But comparing to Leicester, he will be peace even if he draw. He wasn't in rush. Maddison he put himself in a great position, waiting for the Vardy. He know that Vardy will notice him if he gets in good position. That mistake it's kill us. Unfortunately, we lose in mistakes. It's clear, easy mistake to cover. It's not like they are good, but they are because we are not covering with two Longstaff brother. They are just following Vardy and just leave the rest of the team. For the man of the match, of course, I will give it to Andy Carr.
Okay.
He strong shot, five defender.
Okay, thanks for that, Spenny. Over to you. Your quick assessment of the match and your man of the match.
It's like an old school report for me. Could have done better, really. I think for me, for man of the match, we should go to Matty Longstaff. I think he was engine in the midfield again. His tackles are in. We controlled the game in the first half in the midfield. It's just a shame it went that way. It could have gone either way in that game until after the score went in for me. But man of the match, Matty Longstaff.
Okay, Rich.
Do you know, I think I'd be a bit more disappointed if we hadn't played well the last two games. I think the work rate's been fantastic. You know, we had 3 horrible festive fixtures, to be honest with you. Talking our chats about, what's our goal difference going to be over the 3 games and stuff like that. So, to be -3 after playing Man City, Liverpool and Leicester and take a point, which I think a lot of people wrote us off that we wouldn't get anything out of. I think it's a slight optimistic view of how the festive period's been for us. I think we missed Hayden today. But I think his partnership with Longstaff was fantastic the night, and I think that little bit of experience probably wouldn't have would have helped at the first goal. I also thought Shelby, if you look at the second goal as well, he gets done trying to press Tielemans, and then he doesn't even track him back after he gets turned. Regards our man of the match, I've got to go slightly different than what the rest of the lads have got. I'm actually going to go for Callum Wilson. I think he absolutely ran his socks off up front. He was running the channels. He was trying to get in between the lines as well, behind the centre backs, but no one seemed to be able to deliver the final ball. And then when the final ball was in there, because he'd been doing so much, he was out of position and there was nobody filling the gaps in the middle. So Callum Wilson, man of the match for me.
Fair enough. Martin?
Yeah, I think I agree with Rich. I think certainly Newcastle man of the match for me, Wilson. I think he brings more than just goals. I think we've all spoken about it before. I think he ran his lines. I think Murphy was unlucky not to find him with a couple of through balls. I think Murphy kind of knows where Wilson's running. That seems to be a little something there. Seen a few comments as well. I kind of agree. I think Yedlin's been okay the last 2 games. He's worked himself back into the team. He's put some good ball in. So I think he was another one there for me that did well, certainly from the half I watched. We definitely missed Hayden. I think Hayden and Matty look much better together than the 2 Longstaffs together. Fixture-wise, yeah, look, I mean, with 3 tough fixtures, we probably all sat here and expected to be coming out of the side of this game with 3 defeats, and we didn't. Goal difference hasn't really taken a hammering, which is a positive. We've got cup game up next, and then we've got Sheffield United away, which for me, that Sheffield United game's the game we got to win. That becomes a fairly important game, depending on other games around us. Then we've got Arsenal, Leeds, Everton, Palace, and Southampton. So they don't get any easier. These games don't keep coming thick and fast. But look, we're still there. There are teams playing worse, but I would just be slightly worried that run isn't going to keep going. Somewhere along the line, other teams will pick up a point or 3 points, because that's, to coin, pundits, that's football. So I think we need to be a bit more resilient and go at it. Hayden and Matty, for me, is the way forward. I don't think Shelby offers us anything. And Leicester, great team. For them, I think Maddison was outstanding. Tielemans' goal was superb. I don't think many keepers are stopping that. So look, credit to them. Brendan Rodgers has them ticking. He'll be thereabouts again at the end of the season. So, yep, happy enough with what it was.
Okay, over to you, Pete.
Yeah, look, I said it'd be 2-1 before the game. I thought it would be a lot closer than others maybe thought. I can't be disappointed. I said before this run of games that I'd take a point from these 3 games, and anything other than double figures minus in terms of goal difference. We've done both, so I can't be annoyed. But like Martin said, for me, the FA Cup is a sideshow. It's about Sheffield United. We have to win that game, and we have to win that game playing the same way we've played in the last 2 games. And I'm confident that if we play like we have done today and against Liverpool on Wednesday, we'll win the game. I'm confident that we will. So look, there are some positives. We've talked about some of the guys from Man of the Match. I agree with you, Steve, and a couple of others that have said it. I thought Yedlin's been fantastic in the last couple of games. His pace in his outlet is something that we've desperately needed from that side of the pitch. His final ball's not great, but bearing in mind he's not kicked a ball for the whole season and come in and played the last 2 games, the last 2 or 3 games, you can't really argue in that. He needs a few games to get himself up to speed, but he's played well. In terms of man of the match, I'm inclined to go with Callum Wilson. I think, to be honest, I think Fabian Shaw was very, very good again. Although we conceded 2 goals, I thought defensively he was very, very good, and probably the best out of the 3. I thought Clark was poor today. I thought Fernandez was poor today, but I thought Shaw really kept it together. So he, for me, was a really close call there. You could even throw Jacob Murphy into it. Jacob Murphy coming off the bench really made an impact. There was a couple of bad decisions towards the latter stages of extra time, but actually he really gave us that emphasis of going forward and that little bit of trickery which Leicester weren't sort of prepared for in the middle of the pitch. So there's a few out there, but more than anything, it's positive that we're seeing these players playing well, and we want them to continue to play in that manner. Now, the run of fixtures coming up in January, they're not easy. We're not playing at West Brom or Fulham, but they're games where we're not playing Liverpool and Man City and Leicester. So for me, we've matched these teams in those games. Can we go and match an Arsenal on Saturday? Can we go and not just match, but beat and dominate the likes of Sheffield United that are rock bottom? Can we go and disrupt the likes of Arsenal away in the league? Can we go and disrupt the flow of Leeds, who again are playing at so much intensity and played so many games recently at that intensity? They are going to drop off at some point. Can we exploit that? And they're the questions I'd be asking the players going into the next few games. Can we exploit some of these teams and pick up points?
Yeah, Rachel Lamble's happy. She's obviously on some kind of dodgy stream. Like the game finished ages ago. Joking aside, Rachel. Joking aside, we can take the defeat. We've had plenty of them. Enjoy your night tonight and stay safe wherever you are. Chris, finish off with you, mate. Just your man of the match and just a quick assessment on the game, mate.
Yeah. So do you know what the game? I don't want it to come across that like we're happy with a 2-1 loss, because I don't think any of us are happy with a 2-1 loss. But we showed a lot of fight and a lot of character today, and we've had a go. And trust me, as Newcastle fans, not just on the panel but everywhere, there's nothing worse than watching a game where there's no effort, there's no aptitude, nothing. And today and against Liverpool, we've seen effort. And all right, we've been beaten by the better team, but we can all accept that. I mean, in terms of man of the match. Pete mentioned who I was going to say anyway. So yeah, the man of the match for me was Sharp. You know, I thought he had a really good game today. He seems to be back to his old best, and I do really hope that, you know, there is some contract talk somewhere, you know, behind the scenes, because I think it'd be a real loss if we did let him go, because he seems to be back to his best. Whether he's putting himself in the window, I don't know, but I was really impressed with him. I mean, also, you know, shouts out to Joelinton and also Matty Longstaff. I thought those two players played really well. And isn't it a nice change for us not to pick our goalie for man of the match? So we're actually performing. You know, we're having a go, and that's really pleasing to see. I mean, our next 6 games, we've got Sheffield United away, Arsenal away, Leeds at home, Everton away, Palace at home, Southampton at home. So there's plenty of points to fight for there, and lots of positives to take. I mean, at the moment we're 15th, so we're 4 points off 11th, believe it or not. And you know, don't forget we've got that game in hand, and we're 8 points clear of the drop zone, and I think that's the big thing. So you know, we've got some very winnable games coming up, and you know, we need to stay positive and see, you know, that we're so further on than where we were 4 weeks ago. So further on. I mean, I actually enjoyed watching that match today. We didn't win, or you know, we didn't end up coming away with anything, but we've put in a performance and we've had a go, and I think that's all we can ask for.
Exactly.
You know.
Look, none of us are happy. None of us are enjoying this. None of us like to see Newcastle get beat. None of us are walking away with a smile on our face. But the damn sight better than it was. We've got to make sure that we carry that effort that we've put in against Liverpool and Leicester into these games, against the likes of Sheffield United, against the teams like Leeds. We've got to make sure we're putting the same effort in, and hopefully we'll get the rub of the green and we can pick up some points. But lads, as always, been an absolute pleasure to have your company during the game. Thanks to everybody for watching. If you like the channel and you want to subscribe, click the little emblem down in the bottom right hand corner. And yes, we will be back tomorrow night with Ladies Night. Good to see the girls again. 7:30 tomorrow night, and that's 1 hour of chat. We'll be looking back at today's game and what's going on in the world of Newcastle United. Enjoy the match this afternoon, lads. Chelsea Man City, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care, lads. Good night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again.